Chapter 779. At this moment, Zhao Feng had received invitations from both the Luo family and the Duke's mansion. At this moment, the expressions of the three old men, who had been pestering Xiaochen earlier, were extremely marvelous. "General, I also want to go to the Marquis's mansion, but these friends from the Luo clan are forcing me to attend their banquet." Zhao Feng put on an innocent look and sighed bitterly. Hearing those words, the faces of the three people from the Luo clan darkened. They nearly vomited blood and cursed out loud. What Luo family? The half-step king in blue robes' face darkened. The king's token in his hand radiated the might of a monarch's dragon blessing. Under the effect of the token, the demi-king warrior in blue robes could release the aura of a king warrior. No, Your Excellency, you've misunderstood." The chubby old man was scared out of his wits. Even if he was given 100 guts, he still wouldn't dare to snatch away the noble guests of the Duke's mansion. The Duke Palace was the governing body of the Tianfeng Great Island Zone. It was equivalent to controlling a large island zone's territory. In terms of status, that Marquis Nanfeng was the younger brother of the current Qian Emperor. Even the 8th prince had to call him uncle when he saw him. Even a 3-star sect would not dare to provoke such a great figure. In name, the Luo family and 10,000 Sacred Clan were all in Marquis Nanfeng's territory. Young Master Zhao, it won't be too late for you to come to the Luo family after you've gone to the Marquis's mansion," the fat old man said with a flattering smile. "That's good." The blue-robed general smiled calmly. Immediately, Zhao Feng set off with the blue-robed general, leaving behind the Zhao clan and the Luo clan. What happened? Zhao Feng was invited by the Marquis's mansion? This matter must be reported to the Patriarch and young master as soon as possible. Looks like I'll have to think about how to deal with Zhao Feng. The three people from the Luo clan looked terrified. Once Zhao Feng was connected to the Duke's palace, his backing would be even more terrifying than the 10,000 Sacred Clan. After all, the Duke's office was the governing body of the Tianfeng Great Island Zone. A single thought from Duke Nanfeng could decide the fate of any force in this region. Half a day later, a magnificent mansion located in a forest full of flowers was imprinted in Zhao Feng's mind. From far away, Zhao Feng's god spiritual, I could sense the aura of a dynasty's draconic providence gathering. This is the Duke's palace? Zhao Feng was secretly amazed. Inside the mansion, there were lakes, gardens, waterfalls, mountains, all kinds of scenery, similar to the layout of the demigod Forgotten Garden. Rather than calling it a mansion, it was more appropriate to call it a small private kingdom. "General, who exactly is it that invited me here?" Zhao Feng finally spoke. Only after flying for so long did he take the initiative to ask. A look of admiration appeared on the blue-robed general's face. This 14 or 15-year-old genius beast tamer's endurance far exceeded his imagination. "You'll find out soon enough. Lord Wang Ho is also in the residence. If you're lucky, you might be able to meet him." The blue-robed general smiled, but did not directly reply. Zhao Feng didn't ask any more questions. He was rather interested in the nobility system of the Great Qian dynasty. According to what he knew, from top to bottom, the nobility system of the Lord dynasty was emperor, duke, marquis, count, son, and male. The highest emperor was the Great Qian Sacred Emperor. In addition, the retired emperor and the empress were, in principle, also at the level of emperor or semi-emperor. Below the emperor were dukes, also known as grand dukes or duke kings. Dukes were extremely rare in the entire Great Qian dynasty. Some of them were grand dukes that controlled entire provinces, and their cultivation was usually at the mystic light realm. Some were even the uncles of the Great Qian Sacred Emperor. Below grand dukes were the marquis, which was a very high level of nobility. They usually controlled a large island zone or several island zones. Duke Nanfeng was one of the top nobles amongst the marquis. Some people might say that the nobility of the Lord dynasty had no real meaning apart from status. However, if that was the case, it would be a huge mistake, because the nobility of the Lord dynasty corresponded to the providence of the Lord dynasty. The higher the nobility, the more providence one could enjoy. For example, the current sacred emperor of the Great Qian dynasty could enjoy the fortune of the entire dynasty and the vast territory of the world. With the support of this providence, even a trash with a useless spiritual body could easily break through to the void god realm as long as he became the Great Qian sacred emperor. Furthermore, the talent of the imperial's bloodline was the best in the Great Qian dynasty. Almost every sacred emperor had the cultivation of an emperor or even a mystic light realm sacred lord. From this, one could see how mysterious the Lord dynasty's providence was. The other nobles below the emperor could also enjoy a certain amount of the Lord dynasty's providence. The power of providence was a mysterious, ethereal, and invisible force that could boost one's cultivation and increase various factors that were beneficial to oneself. As long as one's providence was strong enough, it was possible to change one's fate. Therefore, many experts in the Great Qian Lord dynasty wanted to obtain a noble title. Therefore, as long as a Lord dynasty is established within the territory of the Great Qian Lord dynasty and affects the Lord dynasty's providence, the Great Qian Lord dynasty will sense it. Zhao Feng understood. This information was only known to him after he had integrated into the environment here. Back then, the Great Guang Lord dynasty of the Azure Flower continent was destroyed in one night because of this reason. As long as the Great Qian Lord dynasty sensed that a Lord dynasty was being established, it would give out orders and missions for the sects or Lord dynasties in that area to take care of it. Young Sir Zhao, please wait a moment. The general in blue brought Zhao Feng to a building that was covered in fallen flowers. Zhao Feng stood there and inspected it with interest. The general in blue soon came out and said with a smile, "The princess invites you in." "Princess?" Zhao Feng paused for a moment and started to search through his memories. He didn't think too much about it. He walked slowly towards the romantic courtyard that was covered in peach blossoms. As soon as he entered, Zhao Feng bumped into someone. It was an elegant male wearing a long robe. It's you." Zhao Feng and the elegant male spoke at the same time and looked at each other in surprise. "Eighth Prince, Zhao Feng," the two blurted out. "Hee. Brother Zhao, it seems we're fated." The eighth prince regained his composure and smiled elegantly. Before he left, he heard that the princess wanted to hire a beast tamer, but he didn't pay much attention to it. "You two know each other?" A clear and beautiful voice like a bell came from the depths of a pink courtyard. The eighth prince shook his head and smiled before walking toward the building with Zhao Feng. "Weird. What kind of background does this Zhao Feng have to know the eighth prince?" The general in blue bowed and left with a surprised expression. Stepping on the petals on the ground, Zhao Feng and the eighth prince walked to the building in the depths of the building. In front of the pavilion stood a young girl with a dignified appearance and a noble temperament. The girl was wearing a beautiful pleated dress. She was young but extremely beautiful, and her face was as white as snow. At first glance, she seemed like a noble princess from the fairy tales. "Princess?" Zhao Feng suddenly felt that she looked familiar. The girl in front of him soon matched the girl in purple that he met in the Wuyo forest. At that time, Zhao Feng's target was the Yinming bird, and he only casually glanced at the girl and the others. He didn't expect this girl to be the princess of the Duke's palace. In terms of relationship, this princess and the eighth prince should be cousins. "Zhao Feng, you're indeed the mysterious beast tamer I've been looking for." The princess smiled sweetly and said with a joyful expression. They both looked to be around 14 or 15. So there didn't seem to be any generation gap. Seeing Zhao Feng's surprised expression, the princess quickly introduced herself. "My name is Zhou Yuqing." "Zhou Yuqing. Princess Yuqing." Zhao Feng nodded his head in surprise, but he didn't act too restrained. "Yuqing, how did you know this Zhao Feng?" The eighth prince asked calmly. He was originally planning to leave, but he changed his mind when he saw that the person Princess Yuqing wanted to see was Zhao Feng. In the Wuyo forest, Zhou Yuqing had a slightly excited expression as she told Zhao Feng about how she easily tamed the Yinming bird in the Wuyo forest. She even exaggerated a bit. The eighth prince's eyes twinkled as he listened. From the looks of it, This Zhao Feng specializes in the soul Dao. The corner of the eighth prince's mouth curled up. The reason why he stayed was because he wanted to understand more about Zhao Feng. For some reason, when the eighth prince saw Zhao Feng, he would connect him to Xian Wuheng, who was as powerful as a grandmaster. Xian Wuheng was a genius that had risen in the continent's dynasty in the past few years. With the cultivation of a half-step king, Xian Wuheng was temporarily ranked 39th on the Great Gan Imperial Ranking. The Great Gan Imperial Ranking included the top 500 geniuses of the Great Gan Lord dynasty. The top 100 were mostly taken by the Imperials, the 8 big families, and the 3 or 4-star sections. Xian Wuheng didn't belong to any family, but he was ranked 31st with the cultivation of a half-step king. His cultivation was at the bottom of the top 200 geniuses on the Imperial ranking. Princess Yuqing, you didn't call me here just to see me, right? Zhao Feng said. Hearing that, a streak of red flashed across Princess Yuqing's face. That day in the Wuyo forest, she couldn't forget the mysterious purple-haired youth who subdued the Yinming bird with just a wave of his hand. That youth, with his flowing purple hair, handsome face, and mysterious cold temperament, often appeared in her mind. Being a girl around the age of 14 or 15, she worshipped heroes, especially when facing such a handsome and mysterious youth of the same age. In this life, Zhao Feng had an even better appearance, and a man who gave off a good aura was even more lethal to women. Zhao Feng, I called you here to ask you for a favor. Princess Yuqing calmed down and returned to being elegant and beautiful as she gave a faint smile. Oh, the eighth prince's interest was piqued. Something that even the duke's palace couldn't solve couldn't be simple. He could use this chance to understand more about Zhao Feng. Look, Princess Yuqing had a mysterious expression as a transparent glass bottle appeared in her hand. A jade-like silkworm could be faintly seen in the bottle. It was around the size of a thumb and had a pair of half-transparent wings. The little silkworm was like a piece of jade. It was fat, but it was in a deep sleep, and its aura was extremely weak. Even though it was stored in a special bottle, the jade-like little silkworm still exuded a faint aura of the primordial age. Meow meow. The little thieving cat jumped out and stood on Zhao Feng's shoulder as its eyes spun. Cloud silkworm, Saint Butterfly. The eighth prince couldn't help but exclaim when he saw the little silkworm. Yuqing, this seems to be the legendary insect from the 10,000 ancient races that your father treasures. Chapter 780. Yuqing, this seems to be the legendary insect from the 10,000 ancient races that your father treasures. The eighth prince exclaimed. The bloodline of the 10,000 ancient races was a legend even in the continent zone. Furthermore, this was a rare insect with a bloodline of the 10,000 ancient races. Zhao Feng had seen the 10,000 ancient races in the demigod Forgotten Garden. The bloodline of the 10,000 ancient races had been scattered across heaven and earth after the ancient desolate continent was destroyed. Now, the original races of the 10,000 ancient races had almost all disappeared. Usually, the bloodlines of rare insects and beasts are many times purer than those of humans, and the degree of atavism is also higher. Zhao Feng's eyes twinkled as he inspected the cloud silkworm, Saint Butterfly. This cloud silkworm, Saint Butterfly, was from the original race of the 10,000 ancient races. Although it was only ranked in the 700s, it was even stronger than the mystic ice-scaled race bloodline from Zhao Feng's previous life. Bloodlines were ranked, but the purity of the bloodline and atavism affected one's strength even more. For example, Zhao Yufei had the bloodline of the spiritual race, which was ranked 19th. If her bloodline was fully awakened, or even half-awakened, heaven and earth would shake, and all sorts of phenomenons would appear wherever she went. If it was the ancient race that was ranked first and had a connate god-demon body, the fan universe wouldn't be able to withstand it. The cloud silkworm Saint Butterfly is one of the 4 most beautiful races of the 10,000 ancient races. Its ability is extremely unique, and it can change between being a silkworm, a chrysalis, and a butterfly. It's one of the rare races that can have 3 life forms. The eighth prince admired the cloud silkworm Saint Butterfly that was like a piece of art. Such a precious treasure was fatally tempting even to him. However, the eighth prince had a hint of regret on his face. Due to some reason, this cloud silkworm saint butterfly is in a deep sleep. Zhao Feng stared at it for a while. It could be said that the life force of the cloud silkworm saint butterfly was at its lowest, and it had even stopped temporarily. Zhao Feng, this cloud silkworm saint butterfly has been sleeping for many years. It's been like this since I was born. To date, no beast tamer has been able to awaken it. Princess Yuqing's eyes twinkled. She looked expectant. Last time in the Wuyo forest, Zhao Feng's beast-taming ability and elegance had left a deep impression on her. Zhao Feng immediately understood. As it turned out, Princess Yuqing had called him here to solve this huge problem. Little sister Yuqing, this is your father's treasured beast. How can you let a tame beast try it? If something goes wrong, the eighth prince's expression changed again. This cloud silkworm immortal butterfly couldn't even be awakened by so many skilled beast tamers, let alone a young beast tamer like Zhao Feng. Even if it was in a deep slumber, the value of the cloud silkworm immortal butterfly was immeasurable. It was very attractive even to emperors and mystic light realm sacred lords. I feel that he is different from other beast tamers. That's why I stole Father's cloud silkworm immortal butterfly. I just want to help Father increase his strength. Princess Yuqing's bright eyes became slightly red and watery. The eighth prince couldn't bear to scold her pitiful expression. Furthermore, he also wanted to test Zhao Feng's strength. In his heart, he was even willing to see something happen to Zhao Feng and make Marquis Nanfeng angry. If Zhao Feng offended Marquis Nanfeng, even the 10,000 sacred clan wouldn't be able to protect him. Zhao Feng, do you think this cloud silkworm immortal butterfly could be saved? Princess Yuqing had a pitiful expression. Zhao Feng could feel the hope and confidence in her eyes. He couldn't help but wonder why this princess had so much hope and confidence in him. Seeing this, Zhao Feng nodded his head faintly and started to inspect the cloud silkworm immortal butterfly. Meow meow. The little thieving cat also circled the cloud silkworm immortal butterfly and waved its paws. During this process, a misty purple light flashed through Zhao Feng's left eye as he inspected the cloud silkworm immortal butterfly within the glass bottle. This cloud silkworm immortal butterfly must have gone through some sort of battle and used up a lot of its life force. Zhao Feng said calmly. Hearing that, Princess Yuqing's eyes lit up and she nodded her head. That's right. The eighth prince revealed a weird expression. Zhao Feng's judgment was very accurate with just one glance. He was sure that Zhao Feng didn't know about this cloud silkworm immortal butterfly before this. It lost its ancient essence, and its soul is in a deep sleep. Even worse, it has activated its self-protection mechanism. Normal external forces will be unable to touch it and will even reject it. Zhao Feng continued to analyze. He saw everything about the cloud silkworm immortal butterfly through his god's spiritual eye. Even normal emperors and sacred lords wouldn't be able to do this. At the very least, it wouldn't be as clear and precise. This is very close to the analysis of the Grandmaster Beast Tamer from the Tianliang province. Princess Yuqing was overjoyed. From the looks of it, Zhao Feng's skill as a beast tamer wasn't any weaker than the Grandmaster Beast Tamer. At that time, the Grandmaster Beast Tamer spent a long time to come up with a conclusion similar to Zhao Feng's. This Zhao Feng, the eighth prince's expression changed. From the current situation, it seemed that Zhao Feng was the real deal. Princess Yuqing's face was filled with expectation and admiration. Even if Zhao Feng couldn't awaken the cloud silkworm immortal butterfly, his talent in beast taming was worth admiring. Was there a second person in the Lord dynasty who was as young and handsome as a Grandmaster Beast Tamer? At this moment in time, Princess Yuqing couldn't help but have a wish. It didn't matter if Zhao Feng succeeded or not. She had to help her father recruit this talent. Zhao Feng, do you have a way to awaken the cloud silkworm immortal butterfly? Princess Yuqing's face was red like a half-ripe apple. I'm only 50% confident. Zhao Feng smiled faintly. He originally didn't care too much about this matter. However, his curiosity towards the mysteries of the ancient era and Princess Yuqing's purity moved him. 50% confident, the eighth prince's eyebrows rose up, and Princess Yuqing's mouth opened slightly. The former was suspicious, and the latter was in disbelief. 50% confident. Many skilled beast tamers had entered the Duke's palace, but none of them dared to say that they were 50% confident. Putting aside 50%, they didn't even say 30% or 20%. Even if it was only 10%, it was still a sliver of hope. 50% confident. What kind of hope was this? If I want to help, I'll need the corresponding materials and payment. Zhao Feng said. This meant that he wouldn't help for free. Of course, as long as you can awaken it, I'll do my best to fulfill any request you have. Princess Yuqing nodded her head. Today, I'm only doing a preliminary test. If there's a chance of awakening it, I'll go back and prepare more. Zhao Feng said. After saying that, he closed his eyes and merged his consciousness into the dimension of his left eye. There was a small whirlpool in the middle of the blue lake. Shua! In the next instant, Zhao Feng stepped into an ancient and vast land. The power of heaven and earth in the ancient dream realm made Zhao Feng's body sink, and his face went slightly red. With the strength of Zhao Feng's body right now, he could stay in the ancient dream realm for a few breaths. However, the power of his soul was more than enough. Shua! Zhao Feng took in a deep breath of the ancient dream realm aura and instantly exited the ancient dream realm. Immediately afterward, he aimed at the jade-like cloud silkworm, Saint Butterfly, and slowly let out a breath of air. This aura was extremely restrained, and it contained a few wisps of eye bloodline power from Zhao Feng's god's spiritual eye. At that moment, the bloodlines of both the eighth prince and Princess Yuqing started to throb. Shock appeared on the eighth prince's face. Who? The two watched in surprise as Zhao Feng let out a breath at the cloud silkworm, Saint Butterfly. Could it be that what Zhao Feng breathed out was divine qi that could save the cloud silkworm, Saint Butterfly? An unbelievable scene appeared. Ha! The translucent wings of the cloud silkworm, Saint Butterfly, in the porcelain bottle trembled slightly. It moved. Princess Yuqing and the eighth prince stared at the cloud silkworm, Saint Butterfly. If it wasn't for the fact that they both saw it at the same time, they would have thought that it was just an illusion. The cloud silkworm Saint Butterfly did move just now. However, from the looks of it, it was just a coincidence. As expected, the god's spiritual eye is a god's eye. Even the bloodlines of the 10,000 ancient races would be alerted. The aura of the ancient dream realm is very compatible with the bloodlines of the 10,000 ancient races, so it's easy to absorb. Zhao Feng nodded his head. His method just then didn't just include his profound insight. It also included the little thieving cat suggestion. The little thieving cat seemed to have an unimaginable understanding of beasts and had the ability to communicate with them. Zhao Feng, you're so strong. The cloud silkworm Saint Butterfly really moved just now. Princess Yuqing was overjoyed. The eighth prince's eyes were slightly dazed. At this moment in time, Zhao Feng seemed to be a monster in his eyes. It was already unbelievable that a youth could defeat an imperial genius, Luo Zun. And now, Zhao Feng was able to make the sleeping cloud silkworm Saint Butterfly move with just one breath. This ability wasn't something that normal people could achieve. Okay, I'm just sure that there's a way to awaken the cloud silkworm Saint Butterfly. I need to go back and prepare for a month. Zhao Feng said. He immediately rejected Princess Yuqing's invitation to stay and left behind a list of materials. Some of the materials were needed to awaken the cloud silkworm Saint Butterfly, and some were for Zhao Feng's personal use. Not long after Zhao Feng left, in front of a quiet lake in the Duke's palace, the aura of the 10,000 ancient races? No, it's the cloud silkworm Saint Butterfly. The expression of a majestic male in golden robes kept on changing. Shua! The golden-robed male disappeared, and an unusual magnificent power and a surge of Lord Dynasty Providence appeared. At the same time, within the princess residence, royal father, 13th uncle, Princess Yuqing and the 8th prince bowed at the same time when they saw the dignified man. They seemed very obedient. The person who came was Duke Nanfeng, the ruler of the Tianfeng Great Island Zone. Yuqing, how dare you steal the cloud silkworm, Saint Butterfly, from the Life Source Pavilion? Duke Nanfeng's expression became grim as he looked at the bottle in Princess Yuqing's hand. Royal Father, a genius beast tamer helped just now and made the cloud silkworm Saint Butterfly. Princess Yuqing hurriedly explained with an excited expression. However, the cloud silkworm Saint Butterfly in her hand was taken away by a magnificent power before she could finish speaking. Duke Nanfeng held the bottle and scanned it with his divine sense. A weird expression appeared on his face. How is this possible? The signs of life within the cloud silkworm Saint Butterfly have returned. Chapter 781. In the Duke's mansion, in the Peach Blossom Courtyard. You're saying that one breath from that youth caused the cloud silkworm, Saint Butterfly, to show signs of reviving? Duke Nanfeng was stunned after hearing the two's story. If it was just Princess Yuqing, Duke Nanfeng might be suspicious and think that it was an exaggeration. However, the eighth prince saw it with his own eyes and knew that he wasn't someone who liked to play around. Yuqing, why didn't you ask such a talented person to stay in your palace and let me meet him? Duke Nanfeng said in a slightly blaming tone. Being one of the 10,000 ancient races, the cloud silkworm Saint Butterfly was in deep sleep this time. Even some Grandmaster and Grandmaster Beast Tamers couldn't do anything about it. After saying this, he was about to send someone to invite Zhao Feng back. Father, wait. He said that he needs to go back and prepare. This is just the beginning. We shouldn't disturb him. Princess Yuqing hurried to stop him. That's true. Duke Nanfeng nodded his head. He then asked Princess Yuqing and the eighth prince about Zhao Feng. Oh, the 10,000 sacred clan? Duke Nanfeng immediately sent experts to the 10,000 sacred clan and asked them to protect Zhao Feng in secret. Zhao Feng was related to the awakening of the cloud silkworm Saint Butterfly, and he couldn't allow anything to happen to it. If I can successfully awaken the cloud silkworm Saint Butterfly, I will have a chance to return to the Sacred Hall and become a player in the Lord Dynasty. Duke Nanfeng murmured in his heart as battle intent appeared in his eyes. Although the cloud silkworm Saint Butterfly wasn't a battle-type insect, only a few people knew its true value. On the other side, Zhao Feng rode the Yiming bird back to the 10,000 sacred clan. When I awaken the cloud silkworm Saint Butterfly next time, I'll be able to get some Soul Dao resources from the Duke's palace. Zhao Feng thought in his heart. If he tried his best, he could awaken the cloud silkworm Saint Butterfly in one go, but it would just be a bit more taxing. Zhao Feng planned to do it several times. Firstly, he couldn't make the awakening seem so easy. Secondly, he could also obtain more precious materials and resources if he relaxed a little. Of course, Zhao Feng couldn't drag this matter out for too long. There were less than 4 months left until the Divine Illusion Dimension opened. There were only 100 or so days left. Thus, Zhao Feng had to revive the cloud silkworm Immortal Butterfly within 3 months. Zhao Feng's so-called preparation work was to come back and cultivate for a period of time. On the same day, Zhao Feng returned to his residence and began to cultivate in seclusion. Over the past few days, he had been crazily doing missions, peddling and auctioning spiritual pets, and annihilating the Yin family. He had raked in quite a bit of capital. In a short period of time, Zhao Feng did not lack resources. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Zhao Feng sat down cross-legged, and various water-type precious materials appeared in front of him. There were crystals, liquids, and jewels. As for the rest of the precious herbs and heavenly treasures that could be used to refine one's body, Zhao Feng also listed out a few of them. These resources were enough to make a primal core realm cultivator's eyes go red. If he wanted to increase his cultivation faster, using external resources was one of the most effective ways. Furthermore, the 5-elemental 10,000 lightning technique and golden Kuan sacred lightning body that he cultivated were of a very high level. They were hard to find even in 4-star sections. Because he was recultivating, Zhao Feng didn't need to worry about his foundation being unstable. Furthermore, the five-elemental 10,000 lightning technique and sacred lightning body complemented each other, causing his foundation to be extremely deep. Time flew by quickly. More than a dozen days had passed. Zhao Feng's five-elemental wind lightning technique had reached the peak 4th level. Within his source of true spirit, a ball of liquid water lightning started to glow with a layer of exquisite lightning. From now on, Zhao Feng's water of wind lightning had a certain level of mastery and foundation. The water of wind lightning had both the speed and offense of wind lightning, as well as the flexibility of water. Furthermore, the water of wind lightning had a great cleansing effect on the body and could even get rid of hidden injuries. Using the water of wind lightning as my first five-elemental wind lightning isn't a bad choice. Zhao Feng was satisfied. Bo Wang. Zhao Feng opened his arm, and a ball of ice blue liquid appeared in his palm. Ice Imperial Spear. The ball of ice blue liquid turned into an ice blue spear, which then turned into a dark blue armor on Zhao Feng's body. The ice-water battle armor rippled with lightning patterns, and it was ever-changing. After recultivating, Zhao Feng had the water of wind lightning, so he could use the ice Imperial Spear more smoothly. The god spiritual, I had given him the water of wind lightning's bloodline. Now that he could use the ice Imperial Spear, Zhao Feng's strength had increased dramatically. Another few days passed. The water of wind lightning surrounded Zhao Feng's body and sizzled. At a certain moment, a layer of bluish-silver metallic luster appeared on the surface of his body. The luster was dazzling, making him look like an icy silver statue. An invisible surge of physical power appeared on Zhao Feng's body. Boom! The room, Zhao Feng, was in shook. Just the slightest shockwave was enough to almost shatter it. And this was when Zhao Feng was purposely suppressing himself. Every brick and tile in the world of the clan was made of extraordinary materials. For example, the room that Zhao Feng was in could take a few rounds of attacks from those at the True Spirit realm and not shatter. Golden Kuan Sacred Lightning Body, 4th level. Zhao Feng let out a long breath. He felt that every inch of his flesh, blood, and bones contained a tremendous power that surged like a raging bull. Ding! Zhao Feng used a sharp earth-grade fragment to cut his arm, but sparks flew. What a strong defense! Zhao Feng felt limitless power, and he had the confidence to trample over everything. Right now, with just his physical strength, he could fight back and even crush some sovereigns of the Origin Core realm. After breaking through to the 4th level of the Sacred Lightning Body, Zhao Feng consolidated his foundation and then started to cultivate the 5-elemental wind lightning technique. Because his intent was higher, the 5-elemental wind lightning technique was faster. On the other hand, body strengthening techniques didn't have as much of a boost in intent. On this day, in the main hall of the Luo family, more than a dozen upper echelon members of the Luo family gathered together. With this plan, the Zhao clan won't be able to sell their resources, and the family will be facing a financial crisis in less than half a year. Ha ha ha! Along with the 3 cloud flying bandits attacks, not only will the Zhao clan not be able to truly control the Yunling area, they won't even have the chance to rest. The head of the Luo family and the elders all had wicked smiles. Although right now, it wasn't appropriate for the Luo family to directly attack the Zhao clan, they could weaken the Zhao clan from the inside by punishing and causing trouble. Without a drop of blood, we can subdue our enemies without a trace. The older, the wiser. Luo Zun sat next to his father with a bright smile. Right at this moment, a unique, magnificent power of a king spread through the providence of heaven and earth and enveloped the main hall of the Luo family. Void God Realm King. The hearts of the upper echelon members of the Luo family dropped. 8th Prince? Luo Zun was surprised as he looked at the male wearing a long robe next to him. Luo Zun. The 8th Prince's expression was solemn. We can't attack the Zhao clan right now. We can't even offend Zhao Feng. Otherwise, the Luo family will be killed. What? As soon as these words were spoken, a commotion broke out in the hall. If these words were spoken by someone else, everyone would scoff at them. However, the person who said it was the 8th prince of the great gone Lord dynasty. A while later, in a secret hall of the Luo family, the 8th prince, Luo Zun, and the head of the Luo family gathered in a room and discussed in secret. That Zhao Feng, Duke Nanfeng appreciates him. Even Princess Yuqing likes him a lot. Luo Zun was slightly dazed. The head of the Luo family was dazed, and his back was drenched in cold sweat. After all, Duke Nanfeng was the supreme king of this island zone. He was a relative of the Great Gan Lord dynasty and a disciple of the Great Gan Lord dynasty's sacred emperor. On top of that, Duke Nanfeng himself was a peak emperor, and adding on the providence of a royal lord, it was impossible to estimate his strength. Even the 8th prince came to the Tianfeng Great Island Zone this time in order to rope in Duke Nanfeng and the force behind him. The Lord dynasty was currently in a sensitive and crucial period. According to the rules, the current Great Gan Lord dynasty's sacred emperor had less than 10 years left, and was about to reach the limit of 500 years. After all, as the sacred emperor, he had the blessing of the entire Lord dynasty. According to the Lord dynasty's rules, unless there were special circumstances, the sacred emperor couldn't be reappointed. And the birth of every new sage emperor represented many factional struggles. At that time, the Lord dynasties, some super families, 3-star, and even 4-star sects would participate in the competition for the position of sacred emperor. In this magnificent great era, the 8th prince also wanted to fight for a chance, even if he wasn't a popular candidate for the position of crown prince. This was his main reason for coming to the Tianfeng Great Island Zone. In the blink of an eye, a month had passed since Zhao Feng returned from the Duke's palace. During this month, Zhao Feng went into seclusion and cultivated. At this moment, his cultivation had finally returned to the half-step origin core realm. Right at this moment, the 10,000 Sacred Clans Divine Illusion Trials started. The Divine Illusion Trials were for the people who could enter the Divine Illusion Dimension. Being a 3-star force in the past, the 10,000 Sacred Clan obviously had an array to connect to the Divine Illusion Dimension. However, only 100 people could enter the Divine Illusion Dimension each time. The goal of the Divine Illusion Trials was to select 100 people. Of these 100 people, 60 to 70% were from the younger generation, and 30 to 40% were from the older generation. Each force had different rules, but they all focused on the younger generation. After all, the younger generation had more potential. Within the 10,000 Sacred Clan, there was a long line in front of a great hall. There were around 1,000 to 2,000 geniuses and elites signing up. The Divine Illusion Dimension wasn't like the so-called inheritances that had an age limit. Anyone below the Void God Realm could sign up. Next, an elder with a long beard registered on an ancient wooden table. Zhao Feng. Zhao Feng walked up and took out his identity token. Zhao Feng. The bearded elder's eyes widened as he glanced at Zhao Feng. During this period of time, Zhao Feng's fame in the clan wasn't small. Some of his achievements weren't talked about in the clan. It was said that this genius beast tamer had recently been recognized by Duke Nanfeng. There's still a month left until the Divine Illusion Trials. After signing up, Zhao Feng rode the Yiming bird and left the clan in a flashy manner. Recently, Zhao Feng received a letter from the Zhao family. Apparently, the Luo family had come to apologize. Several hours later, Zhao Feng arrived at the Duke's palace on the Yiming bird. The Duke's palace received the news before Zhao Feng even arrived. Zhao Feng, Princess Yuqing exclaimed in excitement. Her face was flushed with joy. However, the atmosphere in front of the Duke's palace was solemn, and the nearby servants and generals didn't even dare to breathe loudly. A middle-aged male in golden robes stood in front of the Duke's palace with his hands behind his back. Duke Nanfeng is personally welcoming Zhao Feng. Chapter 782. The 8th prince was slightly dazed as he stood in front of the palace. He was originally here to welcome Zhao Feng with Princess Yuqing. However, Duke Nanfeng, the owner of the Duke's palace, appeared next to him and looked at the approaching Yiming bird with his hands behind his back. As soon as the Yiming bird arrived, Zhao Feng felt an invisible pressure from its gaze. This pressure went straight into the soul, and it seemed to be able to pierce through everything. Duke Nanfeng, Zhao Feng was surprised as his gaze landed on the middle-aged, golden-robed man. There were only a few void God Realm Emperors in the entire Canopy Great Island Zone. Duke Nanfeng was one of the top ones, and his noble fate and majesty could be seen with one glance. The instant their gazes met, Zhao Feng had a rough understanding of Duke Nanfeng's strength. Firstly, Duke Nanfeng was definitely a peak emperor, and his cultivation was close to reaching the mystic light realm. Secondly, he also had a lot of providence supporting him. Zhao Feng could guess that Duke Nanfeng's battle power was at least on the same level as the Emperor of Death. Of course, this was only in terms of battle power. In terms of how terrifying he was, the Emperor of Death was even more troublesome to deal with, since he had the Eye of Death and many terrifying forbidden techniques. For example, the cursed words of death, the shadow of the death god, and other forbidden techniques were enough to make Mystic Light Realm sacred lords wary. The younger generation will surpass us in time. A sharp light flashed through Duke Nanfeng's eyes when their gazes met. At the same time, he was even more surprised that a 14 or 15-year-old boy could remain calm in front of a noble of this level. What does Zhao Feng have to make Lord Duke welcome him personally? Zhao Feng went forward and bowed. At this time, Princess Yuqing walked over happily. Her eyes were filled with expectation and admiration. Zhao Feng, come in and talk. Duke Nanfeng smiled brightly and was very straightforward. A while later, within a garden filled with hundreds of flowers in the Duke's palace, Duke Nanfeng, the 8th Prince, Zhao Feng, and Princess Yuqing sat in an elegant pavilion. Zhao Feng took a sip of tea and looked outside the pavilion at the pleasant scenery of birds singing and flowers fragrant. His expression was especially refreshing. With a quick glance, Zhao Feng could not help but sigh at the extravagance of the Duke's mansion. In this garden, every flower and tree was a priceless spirit flower and rare grass. Some of them were even ancient precious plants that were extinct in the outside world. If one cultivated here, the environment would bring about many benefits. From this, one could speculate how the upper echelons of the Great Qian dynasty would fare. In the beginning, Duke Nanfeng asked about Zhao Feng's family situation and how it felt to cultivate in the clan. One of them asked, "Little friend Zhao, are you doing well in the 10,000 sacred clan?" This sentence caught the 8th prince's attention. Looks like Duke Nanfeng wants to recruit Zhao Feng very much. It doesn't matter if Zhao Feng can revive the cloud silkworm, Saint Butterfly, or not. The 8th prince thought in his heart. Zhao Feng's reply was very neutral, and he politely replied with a few words. Soon, he changed the topic and brought up reviving the cloud silkworm, Saint Butterfly. Zhao Feng's main focus was on recultivating. He wasn't interested in the struggle for power. At the current stage, he still needed to establish a foundation for the divine illusion dimension. Good. Little friend Zhao is indeed a straightforward person. Duke Nanfeng praised. He could tell that Zhao Feng was a practical person and didn't like to beat around the bush. Immediately, Duke Nanfeng waved the nearby servants away and took out a transparent porcelain bottle. Within the bottle was a jade-like, chubby silkworm. It had a pair of half-transparent wings, and it was sleeping quietly. At first glance, one would think that it was a lifelike jade treasure. The life force of the cloud silkworm, Saint Butterfly, was still very weak, and some of its functions had even stopped. A misty purple light appeared from Zhao Feng's left eye. Meow meow. The little thieving cat crawled out of the ancient metal ring and lay in front of the bottle, looking at it with interest. The difference between the human and cat made Duke Nanfeng's eyes twinkle. Zhao Feng, these are the materials you asked for on the list last time. Duke Nanfeng handed over an interspatial ring. Zhao Feng took the ring and checked it before faintly nodding his head. The interspatial ring contained origin life force, soul Dao, and other treasures. Next, Zhao Feng took out a bottle of faint red liquid from his ancient metal ring. It looked like fruit juice. "This is the liquid I made in the last month," Zhao Feng explained. Duke Nanfeng was slightly surprised. The experts he sent out had found out that Zhao Feng had been in seclusion for the last month. In reality, this liquid was made by Zhao Feng in his spare time. After breaking through to the 4th level of the Golden Kuan sacred lightning body, Zhao Feng could stay in the ancient dream realm for a while. The ingredients in this bottle included the dew from the trees in the ancient dream realm, as well as the spring water from the ancient dream realm. There is also the juice of half a spiritual fruit from the ancient dream realm. The common characteristic of these ingredients was that they contained the heaven-earth yuan qi from the ancient dream realm and had an aura similar to that of the ancient era. The spiritual fruit from the ancient dream realm was hard to digest, and with Zhao Feng's current body, the absorption was slow. If his Golden Kuan sacred lightning body improved, the absorption rate would increase. Next, Zhao Feng merged the origin life force and the other soul Tao ingredients into the faint red liquid. During this process, the liquid gave off a faint fragrance. Then, Zhao Feng told Marquis Nanfeng to put the sleeping cloud silkworm Saint Butterfly into the liquid. According to the past, the cloud silkworm Saint Butterfly was in a deep sleep and would activate its self-protection mechanism. However, the weird thing was that the cloud silkworm Saint Butterfly didn't show any obvious signs of rejection. Gulu, Gulu, there was a faint bubble in the juice. The cloud silkworm Saint Butterfly's body seemed to be very close to the liquid. This wasn't out of Zhao Feng's expectations. Last time, he had given the cloud silkworm Saint Butterfly a puff of the ancient dream realm aura. In order to open up the cloud silkworm Saint Butterfly's life force, Zhao Feng's left eye circulated a wisp of his god's spiritual eye-soul power into the liquid. Meow meow meow. The little thieving cat waved its paws and started to speak to the cloud silkworm Saint Butterfly. The weird words, in Zhao Feng's god's spiritual, I made the cloud silkworm Saint Butterfly's wings tremble slightly. The cloud silkworm Saint Butterfly's chubby body also moved slightly. The signs of life are returning. Marquis Nanfeng revealed a joyful expression. At this moment, he could feel the hidden and terrifying aura radiating from Zhao Feng's eye bloodline. Even his imperial bloodline trembled. The little thieving cat's weird words seemed to have a unique rhythm to them. This cat and human were very mysterious, and even Duke Nanfeng couldn't see through them despite his experience. Zhao Feng's soul eye bloodline power and the little thieving cat's weird words continued for 10 breaths. At a certain moment, Zhao Feng's soul even released a wisp of the aura of God Tribulation Lightning. Finally, the cloud silkworm Saint Butterfly's chubby body and wings shivered, and it slowly opened its emerald eyes. The moment it opened its eyes, a terrifying aura that originated from the ancient era caused the bloodlines and bodies of countless beings and experts in the Duke's mansion to tremble. What a terrifying gaze! Zhao Feng clicked his tongue, as expected of a race with a bloodline of the 10,000 ancient races. Even though they were in such a weak state and had just woken up, they were still able to fight. In order to avoid any hostility, Zhao Feng immediately retracted his soul eye bloodline power. Meow meow meow. The little thieving cat waved its paws and started to speak to the cloud silkworm Saint Butterfly. The cloud silkworm Saint Butterfly seemed to understand, and the hostility in its eyes disappeared as it looked at the little thieving cat. After that, its body began to rapidly absorb the juice that was soaking its body. Wang, the translucent wings of the cloud silkworm immortal butterfly were covered in a layer of colorful light, which was beautiful and enchanting. However, the aura from its body was extremely terrifying. Even someone as strong as the 8th prince, who had the cultivation of a king that came from his bloodline, instinctively felt uneasy. The cultivation of this cloud silkworm Saint Butterfly is at least at the Void God realm. Adding on its unique bloodline power, it's comparable to a mystic light realm sacred lord. Zhao Feng's eyes twinkled. He knew a bit about the cloud silkworm Saint Butterfly's unique abilities. It had 3 forms: silkworm, chrysalis, and butterfly. The chrysalis form was relatively weak, but it could spit out the cloud silkworm Saint Silk and transform into a new form. The cloud silkworm Saint Silk was said to be impenetrable by fire, and its binding power was extremely strong. Furthermore, the cloud silkworm Saint Silk was a material used to create top-tier defensive armors. The chrysalis form had the strongest defense, and even experts one rank higher would find it hard to break through it head-on. In other words, even mystic light realm sacred lords wouldn't be able to break through the cloud silkworm Saint Silk at the void god realm. The butterfly form had strong offense, agility, and the unique pollen it gave off contained a mysterious power. In just a short while, the cloud silkworm Saint Butterfly absorbed half of the juice, and its life force and soul were healed to a certain degree. It's finally awake. Excitement and joy appeared on Duke Nanfeng's face. This cloud silkworm Saint Butterfly definitely had the ability to change his fate. Zhao Feng knew how it worked. Although the cloud silkworm Saint Butterfly wasn't ranked very high among the 10,000 ancient races, it had strong support abilities. The last time the cloud silkworm Saint Butterfly appeared, it participated in killing a mystic light realm sacred monster king from the Dark Moon Lord dynasty, and was extremely useful. The 8th prince couldn't help but reveal envy. Of course, he also knew that the power of the cloud silkworm Saint Butterfly's pollen could help form a mystic light sacred body and merge the soul and body together. As its master, Duke Nanfeng, who was a peak emperor, wouldn't have a problem becoming a mystic light realm sacred lord in the future. After a while, the cloud silkworm Saint Butterfly went back to sleep. The cloud silkworm Saint Butterfly's life force has been awakened. Lord Duke, as long as you replenish its life force and soul, it will be able to recover and return to its peak. Zhao Feng replied. The next time he came, the cloud silkworm Saint Butterfly would be able to completely awaken. Zhao Feng, thank you for helping me. Apart from a reward, I, Duke Nanfeng, will owe you a favor. Duke Nanfeng's face was filled with gratitude and red. He seemed to be very excited, and he even reached out and patted Zhao Feng's shoulder. The 8th prince sighed in his heart. Zhao Feng had already won Duke Nanfeng's appreciation, respect, and gratitude. Now, it was time to talk about rewards and rewards. Zhao Feng, if you're willing to join the Duke's palace, I'm willing to give you the right to recommend a count for the next 300 years. Duke Nanfeng said in a solemn tone. Earldom? The hearts of the 8th prince and the young princess skipped a beat. Chapter 783. The ranks of nobility in the Great Gon Lord dynasty were Duke, Marquis, Earl, Viscount, and Baron. The title of Duke wasn't just a symbol of status. It also gave one the providence of the Lord dynasty. The providence of the Lord dynasty was a mysterious power that could bring many benefits to cultivation and one's destiny. Those with strong providence would have a higher chance of breaking through bottlenecks. Reality proved that providence could increase one's battle power and allow one to unleash their peak power. Those with strong providence would even have more fortune than normal people. Of course, this was only limited to the Great Gon Lord dynasty. Therefore, in the Continent dynasty, countless experts would fight to the death to obtain a noble title. At this moment in time, a chance that billions of people dreamed of was right in front of Zhao Feng. This is a Duke title. Surprise was written all over the 8th prince and Princess Yuqing's faces. Duke Nanfeng was a marquis and a relative of the emperor, so he only had the right to nominate a Duke title every 300 years. The Duke title had to go to the capital of the Great Gon Lord dynasty and be approved by the Sacred Emperor. From this, the title of Earl was a rare opportunity. In recent years, the Great Gon Lord dynasty's territory had been invaded by the Dark Moon Lord dynasty, and its providence had decreased slightly. The Lord dynasty's control over the Duke titles was becoming stricter and stricter, and the number of dukes became fewer and fewer. If Zhao Feng becomes a duke, his status will be second only to Duke Nanfeng in the Tianfeng Great Island Zone. The 8th prince couldn't help but worry for the Luo family. Usually, the bestowment of a duke title was accompanied by the division of territory. Thank you for your good intentions, Your Highness. Zhao Feng thought for a while and said, but I'm focused on cultivation and won't stay in the Tianfeng Great Island Zone for too long. Therefore, I can't join the Duke's palace. It wasn't that Zhao Feng wasn't tempted by the benefits of a Duke title. However, while he enjoyed the benefits, he would also have to pay a price. For example, freedom. Zhao Feng didn't want to be kidnapped by Duke Nanfeng and the Lord dynasty so quickly. Moreover, after Zhao Feng recovered his Void God Realm cultivation base, he would depart for the continent zone to meet up with Duanmu Qing and Zhao Yufei. The Duanmu family was one of the 8 great families, and it was hard to say if they were on the same side as Duke Nanfeng. This prince will not force your decision. The corresponding reward will not be small. This prince will owe you a favor. Duke Nanfeng was slightly regretful. Not only did he value Zhao Feng's talent as a beast tamer, he also sensed a hidden power in the latter's body. The 8th prince and Princess Yuqing couldn't believe that Zhao Feng had rejected the temptation of the title of Earl. Zhao Feng, you actually rejected father's good intentions. Princess Yuqing seemed a bit angry. When Duke Nanfeng was willing to recommend Zhao Feng to become a marquis, Princess Yuqing was surprised and happy for him. However, he didn't expect Zhao Feng to reject him so decisively. This Zhao Feng is not simple. The 8th prince felt that this youth in front of him was shrouded in mist, and he couldn't see through him. After the commotion over the title of Earl calmed down, the atmosphere on the field became cheerful and relaxed again. Later that day, Duke Nanfeng decided to hold a banquet in the Duke's palace to thank Zhao Feng for being an esteemed guest. Since Duke Nanfeng and Princess Yuqing kept inviting him, Zhao Feng couldn't reject them. The location of the banquet was the garden of the Duke's palace, and it was held at night. Some of the nearby nobles were also invited. More and more guests came to the Duke's palace, and the atmosphere became lively and joyful. While cultivating, Zhao Feng took this opportunity to relax. Night soon arrived. The garden of the Duke's palace was lit up, and people were singing and dancing. Princess Yuqing stuck to Zhao Feng and introduced him to her friends, but he wasn't interested. Zhao Feng, the voice of a dominant male, sounded when he walked to a certain place. Zhao Feng looked over and saw a familiar face. He didn't expect that someone from the Luo family would also receive an invitation. Luo Zun, the head of the Luo family, and the Void God Realm Grand Elder of the Luo family were all present. The banquet of the Duke's palace was different. Some people might come to give gifts even if they weren't invited. After all, this was the highest authority of the Tianfeng Great Island Zone. Being one of the top 3 families in the Tianfeng Great Island Zone, the Luo family's relationship with the Duke's palace wasn't bad. This was especially so for Luo Zun, who was the #1 genius of the Tianfeng Great Island Zone. Brother Luo, what do you want? Zhao Feng smiled faintly as he inspected the people from the Luo family. The head of the Luo family squeezed out a smile, but he didn't have the usual aura of the head of the family. Luo Zun's expression was slightly unnatural. They obviously knew that the main character of this banquet was Zhao Feng. Just think about it. After this banquet, who in the Tianfeng Great Island Zone would dare to offend Zhao Feng and the Yunling Zhao family? Zhao Feng, my little sister wants to see you. Luo Zun said expressionlessly. The defeat and unwillingness in his heart became stronger when facing this youth. Although Zhao Feng hadn't defeated him in a head-on fight, his opponent was a youth that wasn't even half his age. This feeling of defeat was comparable to when he lost to Xian Wuheng in front of everyone. Little sister? Luo Shueya. Zhao Feng's expression changed slightly as he looked around. Luo Shui was a famous beauty in the Tianfeng Great Island Zone with great talent. Princess Yuqing couldn't help but frown when she heard the name Luo Shui. The Duke's palace had obviously heard about Zhao Feng's past. Princess Yuqing also knew that Luo Shui was Zhao Feng's fiancée and that the 8th prince thought highly of her. I want to see what kind of beauty Luo Shui is. Princess Yuqing harumphed. Shui only wants to see Zhao Feng alone. Luo Zun was still very polite to Princess Yuqing. Princess Yuqing, I'll be leaving for a bit. Zhao Feng smiled at the princess. Immediately, Zhao Feng left with Luo Zun, leaving behind the unfriendly Princess Yuqing. Little sister Yuqing, I hope that you can try harder and steal Zhao Feng away. That way, we'll both win. A teasing voice sounded from behind. The owner of the voice was the 8th prince. Steal? Who said I like him? Princess Yuqing's porcelain face couldn't help but turn red. Oh, you like him? You said it yourself. The 8th prince had a playful expression. He looked in the direction that Zhao Feng left in, but he wasn't as casual as he looked. From the current situation, if Zhao Feng wanted Luo Shi, the 8th prince might not be his match. Is it worth it to offend this guy for a woman? The 8th prince asked. At this moment, he wasn't using a normal genius to judge Zhao Feng. The 8th prince had a feeling that Zhao Feng might be someone like Xian Wuheng, unfathomable and unfathomable. Zhao Feng reviving the cloud silkworm Saint Butterfly had, to a certain degree, changed Duke Nanfeng's fate, and it might even affect the battle within the Lord Dynasty. This youth hadn't even entered the continent zone yet, but he had dropped a stone on the surface of the Lord Dynasty and caused a ripple. On the other side, Zhao Feng followed Luo Zun into a remote bamboo forest within the Duke's palace. Shui is waiting for you inside, Luo Zun said expressionlessly, and then stood guard next to the bamboo forest. With his status as the #1 genius of the Tianfeng Great Island Zone and a Void God Realm King, even those from the Duke's palace had to be respectful to him. They walked into the bamboo forest. A beautiful figure with long hair entered his sight. It was a beautiful girl with waist-length hair. She wore a green dress, and her skin was smooth. Her eyebrows were like mountains, and she seemed to be slightly worried. Her eyes and snow-white skin had a kind of liveliness and gentleness to them. She was like a lotus after the rain that had shed all its luster. Luo Shui'er. Zhao Feng sighed in his heart. Any male that saw this beautiful girl wouldn't be able to help but want to protect her. Of all the beauties he had seen, Luo Shui'er was at least ranked in the top 5. In terms of aura, she wasn't much weaker than Lu Qinxin. Zhao Feng, do you still remember where we first met? Luo Shui'er's clear eyes landed on Zhao Feng. Her eyes, which were as beautiful as water, had a trace of hazy beauty. First time, a bamboo forest with drizzling rain appeared in Zhao Feng's mind. It was on that day that Zhao Feng and Luo Shui'er met. On that day, Zhao Feng saw Luo Shui'er's appearance and was stunned. His handsome face went red for a while, and he stuttered. Luo Shui'er's smiling eyes contained a hint of shyness. However, Zhao Feng was only 13 years old at that time, and he didn't realize that this meeting was arranged by Luo Shui'er. Luo Shui'er was extremely talented, and she wasn't willing to let her marriage be decided by someone else. She had a good impression of him the first time they met. The young girl's first awakening of love was reserved, and she secretly acquiesced to this engagement. So that's how it is. Zhao Feng recalled the details in his memory and understood a lot. The original Zhao Feng was also extremely handsome, and his pure side had moved Luo Shui'er's heart. Shui, I never thought that you would write a divorce letter. Is it because of your pride, or because of the 8th prince's power? Luo Shui'er's watery eyes were slightly red. Zhao Feng calmly walked around the bamboo forest with his hand behind his back and admired Luo Shui'er's beauty. You've changed. Luo Shui'er stared at Zhao Feng for a while before sobbing. At this moment, the way he looked at her was completely different from before. There wasn't any love in his eyes. She even suspected that this youth wasn't the same as before. Lady Luo, I'm sorry, but the Zhao Feng who liked you has already left. Zhao Feng didn't say anything else. He didn't want to repeat what happened in the flooding lake city. After all, this was a grudge between the original Zhao Feng, and Zhao Feng didn't want to get involved. The relationship between Zhao Feng and Lu Qinxin was different. Back then, although he had been forced into a marriage, he had managed to stay in the flooding lake city for half a year while living under someone else's roof. That half a year made him and Lu Qinxin form an unbreakable bond. After saying this, Zhao Feng didn't say anything else and turned around and walked out of the bamboo forest. Zhao Feng, You have to give me a reason. Luo Shuai sobbed. Reason? You'll know in the future. Zhao Feng walked out of the bamboo forest without looking back. The instant he left the bamboo forest, Luo Shuai seemed to see purple hair dancing in the wind. At this moment, Zhao Feng didn't give her an answer. But the true Zhao Feng was in Zhao Feng's body, and sooner or later, it would be revealed to the public. Chapter 784. Zhao Feng and Zhao Feng were two completely different people. He didn't want to interfere with Zhao Feng's relationship. Even Luo Shuai's appearance and bearing were rare in the world. After walking out of the bamboo forest, Zhao Feng thought back to some of his wishes. Among them, he had already fulfilled his wish to unify the Yunling family. Secondly, he had already helped his grandfather extend his lifespan and heal his injuries. Become the disciple of a king and become famous in the 10,000 sacred clan and the Tianfeng Great Island Zone. A smile appeared on Zhao Feng's face. This goal was about to be achieved. It would happen during the upcoming banquet and the divine fantasy trials. As for becoming the disciple of a king, Zhao Feng would be able to recover his king cultivation in a short amount of time. This would probably surpass the original owner's expectations. Apart from marrying Luo Shuai, everything else is pretty much done. It might even surpass expectations. Zhao Feng nodded his head. Zhao Feng could be said to have done all he could have put in so much effort. After all, the original Zhao Feng had already died when he took over this body. Within the Duke's palace, there was singing and dancing. In tonight's banquet, Zhao Feng was undoubtedly the main character. Many influential figures from the Tianfeng Great Island Zone recognized this genius beast tamer who had miraculously risen to power. There were even 2 kings from the 10,000 sacred clan that had come to attend the banquet. Apparently, they had a good relationship with Duke Nanfeng. At the banquet, Zhao Feng was invited by many nobles from the Great Island Zone, and he couldn't take care of himself. Luckily, Princess Yuqing helped Zhao Feng share some of the pressure. At the banquet, Duke Nanfeng's favorite princess was extremely close to Zhao Feng. This scene was also seen by Duke Nanfeng and those from the Luo family. It wasn't hard to see that Princess Yuqing admired and liked Zhao Feng. Duke Nanfeng saw this, but he smiled and didn't say anything. If Princess Yuqing was willing to be with Zhao Feng, he wouldn't object. The members of the Luo clan looked worried. If Zhao Feng divorced and became Duke Nanfeng's son-in-law, it would be a huge blow to the Luo family's reputation. Thankfully, what the Luo family worried about did not happen. Zhao Feng didn't show much interest in Princess Yuqing. He had a helpless expression as she led him around. At a corner of the banquet, Luo Zun and the 8th prince, 2 young men who were supposed to be very bright, were now standing in an inconspicuous corner. This Zhao Feng divorced Luo Shuai and isn't interested in Princess Yuqing. What's going on in his head? The 8 princes' gaze often landed on Zhao Feng. Zhao Feng was becoming more and more unfathomable to him. Even he, the 8th prince, was attracted by Luo Shuai's beauty. The young princess' noble status was something that countless men dreamed of. However, Zhao Feng had actually given up on these 2 goddess-like beauties at the same time. It was truly infuriating to compare oneself with others. The 8th prince couldn't help but question himself. As the noble 8th prince of the Great Gan dynasty, how could he lose to a youth from a small family? Late at night, the banquet ended. Zhao Feng expressed his gratitude towards Duke Nanfeng and said his goodbyes. Duke Nanfeng didn't try to keep Zhao Feng and gave him some rewards. Whoosh! Zhao Feng rode the Yiming bird and left the Duke's mansion. On the way back, he checked the rewards that Duke Nanfeng had given him. Those rewards included some precious soul materials and watertight treasures that Zhao Feng required, and all of them were priceless and difficult to obtain. Besides, Duke Nanfeng even gave him some primal crystal stones. These were not ordinary primal crystal stones, but the highest grade primal crystal stones. Primordial crystal stones from high grade to top grade was a dividing line. One supreme grade crystal stone was equivalent to 1 million high-grade crystal stones. 1 high-grade primordial crystal stone equals 100 mid-grade primordial crystal stones equals 10,000 low-grade primordial crystal stones. From this, one could see how rare supreme-grade primordial crystal stones were. Back then, Zhao Feng had used a lot of supreme-grade primordial crystal stones to use the spiritual zone teleportation array. From the floating dreams sacred land to the azure flower continent, then from the azure flower continent to the Namlin Sea. Because of this, Zhao Feng had used 95% of his wealth in his previous life, and he had even gotten some supreme-grade primordial crystal stones from Emperor Zimu to make up for it. After taking over the body and reviving, Zhao Feng basically didn't have any supreme-grade primordial crystal stones on hand. However, Duke Nanfeng's reward this time was close to 100 supreme-grade primordial crystal stones and over 10 million high-grade primordial crystal stones. Of course, in comparison, the favor that Duke Nanfeng owed Zhao Feng was more valuable. This amount of resources is enough for me to cultivate to the Void God realm. However, the amount of resources needed after that is even greater. Zhao Feng's gaze was very far away. He was recultivating for a higher and further goal. Therefore, Zhao Feng would definitely grasp this chance when the divine illusion dimension connected once every 100 years. According to what he knew, many of the extinct resources in the continent zone came from the divine illusion dimension. For example, above the supreme-grade primordial crystal stones were the legendary God crystals. God crystals were almost impossible to form in the current environment of the fan universe. They usually came from ancient ruins like the divine illusion dimension. The God crystal was the core of the super long-distance teleportation array and could be used by mystic light realms sacred lords and demigods to cultivate. For the current Zhao Feng, supreme-grade primordial crystal stones were the best for cultivation. After returning to the clan, Zhao Feng started another round of seclusion. I'll go to the Duke's palace in a month. The cloud silkworm, Saint Butterfly, will be able to fully awaken by then. Zhao Feng had already confirmed the time before entering seclusion. Within the room, a silver-blue metallic glow appeared on Zhao Feng's body, making him seem like a statue of ice and silver. Wung, the water of wind lightning surrounded Zhao Feng's body and refined his flesh, organs, and bones. Ever since the Golden Kuan's sacred lightning body broke through to the 4th level, Zhao Feng's physical strength and defense had reached a whole new level. At this moment in time, with just his physical body alone, he could even suppress ordinary primal core realms. Because of the 10,000 divine thoughts technique, Zhao Feng could cultivate these two top-tier sacred techniques at the same time. In comparison, the 5 elemental wind lightning technique advanced faster. This was because of Zhao Feng's foundation in wind lightning and his emperor-level intent. In the blink of an eye, a month passed. Zhao Feng's 5 elemental wind lightning technique broke through to the 5th level. The 5 elemental wind lightning technique was split into 12 levels. The first 3 levels were the foundations of wind lightning. The 4th to 6th levels were the foundations of the first 5 elemental wind lightning. Zhao Feng chose the water of wind lightning. When the 7th level started, Zhao Feng would be able to create the second 5 elemental wind lightning, the wood of wind lightning. Water gave birth to wood gave birth to fire, fire gave birth to earth, earth gave birth to metal. Finally, metal gave birth to water, completing the cycle of the 5 elements. And so on. The 7th level was the wood of wind lightning. The 8th was the fire of wind lightning. The 9th was the earth of wind lightning, and the 10th was the metal of wind lightning. After the 10th level, the 5 elemental wind lightning would be able to merge into one. These were some of the ancient essence of the original 5 elemental 10,000 lightning art. Of course, the wind lightning inheritance's laws of speed and destruction would also be present. However, Zhao Feng could merge the laws of destruction and God tribulation into the power of wind lightning in advance. The power of God tribulation is the most profound. I'll merge it after I recover my emperor intent. Zhao Feng had his own plan. On this day, a layer of Yuan Qi whirlpool appeared in the air above the courtyard where Zhao Feng was in seclusion, and its aura affected everything within dozens of miles. There seemed to be a black hole sucking in the heaven-earth Yuan-Chi nearby. That brat started to break through to the origin core realm so quickly. Senior Marshal Brother Guang and company noticed what was happening in the courtyard where Zhao Feng was in seclusion. The hearts of some central disciples were stunned. How long had it been? Was it even half a year? Zhao Feng was starting to break through to the origin core realm. Furthermore, the aura of the Yuan-Chi whirlpool above the courtyard was extremely strong, and the water lightning Yuan-Chi it absorbed was extremely pure. The scene of Zhao Feng breaking through to the origin core realm even caught the attention of some kings. After all, Zhao Feng was only 14 or 15 years old. Regardless of whether he succeeded or failed, he was still a rare genius. However, the Yuan-Chi whirlpool only lasted for 2 days before disappearing. Could he have failed? Oof. This Zhao Feng's biting off more than he can chew. He only reached the half-step origin core realm not long ago, and he's already trying to break through to the origin core realm. No matter how good his talent and fortune are, he won't be able to break through if his cultivation isn't strong enough. The core disciples that lived in the surroundings heaved a sigh of relief. If Zhao Feng was able to break through to the origin core realm so easily, it would be too much of a blow to them. Right at this moment, the protective array around Zhao Feng's courtyard disappeared. He had come out of seclusion. At this moment, numerous spiritual senses and even a few divine wills pierced through the air to probe. What's going on? The youth that had just come out of seclusion had a rosy complexion. He wasn't pale and weak like they had imagined. Zhao Feng's aura had risen to a new level, and his body was radiating wisps of true yuan. True yuan. This was the standard for breaking through to the origin core realm. The divine senses present even felt the new core within Zhao Feng's body. Origin core realm? He succeeded? How is this possible? It's only been 1 or 2 days, and he's already formed a core? The nearby central disciples were speechless. Even the masters of the divine sense who were observing in the dark were shocked. With the help of the peak-grade primal crystal stone, the speed at which he formed his core is much faster than before. Zhao Feng smiled faintly. After all, he had the help of the peak-grade primal crystal stone, as well as several water and lightning elemental resources. It was because of this, according to normal calculations, breaking through to the origin core realm was destined to fail. Logically speaking, the attempt to break through to the primal core realm was destined to fail, given that it ended so quickly. Zhao Feng had just walked out of the courtyard. Shua, shua, shua. Several surges of magnificent power quickly headed toward where Zhao Feng was. Zhao Feng, are you willing to become my disciple? A middle-aged king wearing a snow-white robe appeared in the air above Zhao Feng's courtyard. King Lu Yun. It's Huang Yunhu's master, King Lu Yun. The surrounding core disciples exclaimed in admiration. Before this, Zhao Feng had defeated and injured Huang Yunhu twice, which had caught King Lu Yun's attention. King Lu Yun, wait. This disciple has the right to choose. Don't force him. 2 more king elders appeared in the air. King Thunder, King Lu Qiong. The nearby disciples were flabbergasted. 3 kings had appeared at the same time, and they all wanted to take Zhao Feng as their disciple. From the looks of it, he was at least a core disciple. Master, Senior Marshal Brother Guang exclaimed as he looked at King Lu Qiong. Even his master wanted to take Zhao Feng as his disciple. Chapter 785. Senior Marshal Brother Guang Tian came from Lord Lu Qiong, but he was only an in-name disciple and not a core disciple. He found it hard to accept what was happening in front of him. His master, who was an unreachable king in his heart, was fighting over a disciple without caring about his image. What made him angry the most was that the 3 kings were fighting over Zhao Feng, who he had been fighting for a long time. Over this period of time, news about Zhao Feng had spread, and it toppled everything that Senior Marshal Brother Guang knew. Apparently, Zhao Feng was recognized by Duke Nanfeng and became the main character of the banquet. Even the Luo family, one of the top 3 families of the Great Island Zone, went to the Zhao clan to apologize. What was even more shocking was that Zhao Feng even rejected Duke Nanfeng's offer of a duke title. Even then, Duke Nanfeng still owed Zhao Feng a favor. Right now, 3 Void God Realm Kings were fighting to take Zhao Feng as their disciple. What's going on with Zhao Feng? Ever since he returned from the Wuyo Forest, Senior Marshal Brother Guang was dazed. At the same time, he started to have some guesses and suspicions about what happened to Zhao Feng. But so what if those guesses and suspicions were true? The few upper echelon members of the Zhao clan knew that Zhao Feng had been taken over, but they had to think of a way to keep it a secret. "Thank you for your kindness, elders," Zhao Feng said emotionlessly as he looked up at the 3 beams of magnificent power in the sky. At this moment in time, the nearby central disciples held their breaths and waited for Zhao Feng to make his choice. For a group of core disciples, this kind of opportunity was definitely a turning point that could change their lives. It was unimaginable, yet Zhao Feng was still so calm and unperturbed. "But I'm sorry, I've already become the disciple of an emperor." Zhao Feng's casual words were like a bomb that was dropped on the ground. Void God Realm Emperor. The hearts of his central disciples and the 3 Void God Realm Kings shook. No wonder this Zhao Feng changed so much. This can't be explained by luck alone. He actually became a disciple of a great emperor. The disciples looked at Zhao Feng with obvious envy and jealousy. Thump! Senior Brother Guang's body shook, and he fell to the ground. The identity of a true disciple that he had dreamed of, Zhao Feng did not even spare a glance at it. Zhao Feng had even rejected the 3 king tiers offered to take him as a disciple. Furthermore, his reason made the 3 kings feel helpless. The 10,000 Sacred Clan was once a 3-star force, but it had fallen and only had 3 emperors. In the entire Tianfeng Great Island Zone, there were only a handful of Void God Realm emperors. The 10,000 Sacred Clan had the most emperors in the Great Island Zone. However, at its peak, the 10,000 Sacred Clan was even stronger than the Mystic True Sacred Clan, and they had more than 1 or 2 Mystic Light Realm Sacred Lords. Whoosh! 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 The 3 Void God Realm Kings left with regret. They didn't ask which Void God Realm Emperor Zhao Feng was the disciple of. Even the weakest Void God Realm Emperor wasn't something a normal king could compare to. After the disciple recruitment incident ended, Junior Marshal Brother Zhao. The eyes of the central disciples lit up as they came to talk to Zhao Feng with respect. However, Zhao Feng snickered coldly and flew away on the Yiming bird. The further one went on the path of recultivation, the slower their progress would become. Zhao Feng was racing against time. There was still 2 more months until the Divine Illusion Dimension connected, so Zhao Feng needed to be prepared. "This brat is too arrogant," some of the central disciples said unhappily. "Sigh, he has the right to be arrogant. If I can become the disciple of an emperor and receive Duke Nanfeng's recognition, wouldn't I be able to do whatever I want in the Tianfeng Great Island Zone?" The other disciples sighed with admiration and admiration. Senior Marshal Brother Guang was the most embarrassed. He definitely sensed what I did to him earlier. Apart from anger, unwillingness, and jealousy, Senior Marshal Brother Guang also felt fear and worry about the future. On the other side, Zhao Feng sat on the Yiming bird and headed toward the Duke's palace. The reason he was going was to ensure that the cloud silkworm Saint Butterfly had completely awakened. The Yiming bird was extremely fast, and it radiated an aura of death that was even colder. So, Zhao Feng had trained the Yiming bird before going back. The best way to increase the Yiming bird's strength was through Soul Dao resources. Although Zhao Feng had obtained some Soul Dao resources from the Duke's palace, they were limited for those at the Void God Realm. After all, Zhao Feng's soul was extremely strong. Therefore, he only used 1 or 2 of the best Soul Dao resources and used the rest to train the Yiming bird. The specific training process was left to the little thieving cat. At this moment, the Yiming bird's cultivation was about to reach the Sovereign Lord level, and it was enough for a flying mount. 4 hours later, Zhao Feng arrived at the Duke's palace. Marquis Nanfeng knew that Zhao Feng would arrive at this time, so he was already waiting for him. In this period of time, the cloud silkworm Saint Butterfly will awaken for a short while every few days. Marquis Nanfeng described the situation of the cloud silkworm Saint Butterfly. Zhao Feng inspected the little jade-like silkworm quietly lying in the precious life liquid. The cloud silkworm Saint Butterfly's aura of life was several times stronger than the first time, and he could feel faint soul undulations. It's about time. Zhao Feng took out a bottle of dark red fruit liquid. This time, Zhao Feng had merged more flesh and spiritual fruits from the ancient dream realm into the fruit liquid. Zhao Feng immediately poured the dark red fruit liquid over the cloud silkworm Saint Butterfly's body. Whoosh! Pa! The cloud silkworm Saint Butterfly woke up once more and flapped its wings, quickly absorbing the fruit liquid. The fruit liquid contained the heaven-earth yuan qi from the ancient dream realm, and it was extremely compatible with the cloud silkworm Saint Butterfly's body. After soaking in the liquid, the cloud silkworm Saint Butterfly had obviously improved. Of course, the Duke's palace also used a large amount of resources to recover life. Zhao Feng stayed behind and observed for a day. The cloud silkworm Saint Butterfly's life force, including its soul aura, was recovering. Furthermore, the frequency at which the cloud silkworm Saint Butterfly woke up was increasing. Congratulations, Duke. The cloud silkworm Saint Butterfly has passed the danger and hibernation. It's only weak right now, and it will recover after 1 to 2 years. Zhao Feng smiled and said. Hearing that, Duke Nanfeng was overjoyed. The cloud silkworm Saint Butterfly's survival could change his fate to a certain extent. This junior still needs to go back to participate in the divine illusion trials, so I won't be staying. Zhao Feng soon said his goodbyes. Divine illusion trials? Duke Nanfeng's eyes flashed as he thought of something, and an ancient book appeared in his hand. This book has the records of the Imperials regarding the divine illusion dimension. You can study it when you get back, Duke Nanfeng said. Hearing that, Zhao Feng was overjoyed, and he quickly took the book and memorized the contents. Being an ancient lord dynasty, the Great Ghan Imperial's understanding of the divine illusion dimension wasn't something normal 2-star or 3-star powers could compare to. On the way back to the 10,000 Sacred Clan, Zhao Feng started to digest the information and analysis of the divine illusion dimension in the book. The divine illusion dimension is an abandoned divine illusion dimension. Right now, the Great Ghan Lord Dynasty hasn't even explored 1/10 of it. Zhao Feng was shocked after reading through it. The divine illusion dimension overlapped with the dimension near the continent zone once every 100 years. Every time this happened, the forces of the continent zone would be able to use their arrays to connect with the divine illusion dimension. However, the divine illusion dimension was too big, and the area that overlapped with the continent zone might not be the same. Furthermore, the mortality rate in the divine illusion dimension was extremely high, far surpassing the inheritances of some clans. The mortality rate is as high as 50%. Zhao Feng's heart shook. However, at the same time, this was also the survival of the fittest between the forces of the continent zone. Usually, those who survived the divine illusion dimension would be nurtured and placed in an important position. The imperial family's ancient book recorded some of the known locations in the divine illusion dimension, including the danger zones and fortuitous encounters. There was also more analysis in the book that was worth studying. When Zhao Feng returned to the 10,000 Sacred Clan, there were only 3 days left until the divine illusion trial started. At this moment, the registration for the Divine Fantasy Trials was nearing its end. Those who needed to register had all registered. The entire sect was in a fiery and tense atmosphere. Some of the cultivators that were in seclusion all went into seclusion to prepare for the trials. The 10,000 Sacred Clan could only send 100 spots into the Divine Illusion Dimension. More than half of the spots were for the younger generation. The remaining 30 to 40% were for the older generation. This generation had 35 spots for the older generation and 65 for the younger generation. Those under 50 were the younger generation, and those over 50 were the older generation. In comparison, the competition between the older generation was even more intense. The weakest of the elites that came to register were at the peak True Lord rank or half-step Origin Core realm. The small Origin Core realm was the main force. The last 3 days, Zhao Feng didn't enter seclusion. Instead, he entered the ancient dream realm. At this moment, Zhao Feng's cultivation had reached the Origin Core realm, and his golden Kuan sacred lightning body had broken through to the 4th level, so he could walk in the ancient dream realm for a while. In the center of the forest in the ancient dream realm, in front of the tree, the python and the ancient Yao bird were still guarding the spiritual fruits for Zhao Feng. Zhao Feng's soul intent was still present, so his dark heart seal was still effective against the 2 Yao spirits. Immediately, Zhao Feng ordered the ancient Yao bird to hunt some of the flesh from the ancient dream realm. The flesh from the ancient dream realm was used by Zhao Feng to refine his sacred lightning body. In his previous life, he found that the child demigod seemed to crave the flesh from the ancient dream realm, as if it was extremely effective for his body and bloodline. In this period of time, Zhao Feng had tried eating the flesh from the ancient dream realm or mixing it into his body strengthening liquid. Needless to say, the body-tempering effect was very good. Zhao Feng felt his bloodline and body become stronger. After his 5-elemental 10,000 lightning technique broke through to the 5th level, his golden Kuan sacred lightning body also reached the early stages of the 4th level. Starting from the 4th level, the golden Kuan sacred lightning body was split into the early stages, late stages, and peak stages. The flesh from the ancient dream realm played a huge part in why Zhao Feng was able to reach the early stages of the 4th level so quickly. There are still a few fruits left on the tree, and Zhao Feng planned to use them when he became a king. The day before the divine illusion trials, Zhao Feng soaked in the ancient dream realm blood essence for 2 days and 2 nights, and he also ate some flesh from the ancient dream realm. Right at this moment, he could feel that the bloodline power in his body was undergoing some changes. He could feel a burning sensation in his blood. Chapter 786. As Zhao Feng soaked in the body, strengthening liquid and the ancient dream realm blood essence, he could feel the burning sensation from the depths of his bloodline becoming stronger. Zhao Feng wasn't a newbie who didn't know anything. Naturally, he understood what this sign meant. This bloodline seems to be a fire elemental bloodline. Zhao Feng's eyebrows furrowed. This was because he already had an ice water bloodline in his body. It was a product of the god's spiritual eye. If this bloodline was a fire elemental bloodline, then the 2 elements countered each other. As the burning sensation became stronger, a bright red light appeared in Zhao Feng's bloodline. It was lighter than his blood, and it seemed to be translucent. This bloodline power isn't any weaker than the 10,000 ancient races. Zhao Feng revealed a weird expression. Luckily, the elemental suppression that Zhao Feng was worried about didn't appear. Both the ice water bloodline from the god's spiritual eye and the bright red, flaming bloodline were products of his body. The human body was made up of many particles of the 5 elements, so they could maintain a balance. Zhao Feng circulated his eye intent and easily controlled the bright red, flaming bloodline. The aura of the god's spiritual eye could suppress this bloodline. Furthermore, Zhao Feng's intent was so strong that he could easily control the mystic ice scaled race bloodline, which was ranked 89th among the 10,000 ancient races. I wonder what the abilities of his bloodline are like. Zhao Feng thought. He could easily activate his bloodline. He had the experience from his previous life and emperor intent. Furthermore, the ancient dream realm bloodline could accelerate the awakening of bloodlines. Zhao Feng and the child demigod had already discovered this a long time ago. I'll activate my bloodline to the maximum. I can find someone to test it out in the divine illusion trials tomorrow. Zhao Feng soon made a decision. On the same day, Zhao Feng's bloodline from awakening to activating, completed a process that others would take several years or even 10 years to do. However, Zhao Feng also used a lot of ancient dream realm blood essence and other treasures. Late that night, in the sky above Zhao Feng's courtyard, a layer of bright red, translucent flames appeared, covering an area of hundreds of feet in radius. What aura? That faint bloodline aura caused the bloodlines of the nearby core disciples to instinctively tremble uneasily. But afterward, that bloodline aura was easily withdrawn. It was harder to sense from a distance. Even so, the signs and bloodline aura of Zhao Feng's courtyard attracted the attention of a few observant people. The next morning, the core disciples came out early with fervor and expectation on their faces. The Divine Fantasy Continent preliminaries are about to begin. Senior Brother Guang took a deep breath and walked out of his courtyard. He subconsciously glanced at the courtyard where Zhao Feng was. He was slightly startled by what he saw. In the sky above Zhao Feng's courtyard, a bright fiery glow intertwined with the early morning sun. Faintly, the light of the crimson flame seemed to merge with the power of the primordial golden crow. Is it related to the golden crow race bloodline of the 10,000 ancient races? Zhao Feng sat cross-legged and his heart jumped. Immediately after, he suddenly shook his head. The golden crow race was ranked 8th on the 10,000 ancient races and could be said to be a heaven-defying race. Speaking of the golden crow race, there was one in the fan universe. That was the immemorial, glorious sun. If one flew out of the area, they would be able to get close to the golden crow, also known as the sun. The flame energy of the primordial golden crow was the strongest in the world, able to incinerate all things. Up until now, no one dared to get close to the golden crow. Even demigods or heavenly gods would be instantly turned to dust if they got close to the golden crow. It could be said that it was an invincible race that was immeasurably large and provided the light of the entire fan universe. However, the golden crow was extremely far away from the continent zone, and with the obstruction of the limitless ocean, it wasn't much of a threat. If it wasn't for the limitless ocean, over 90% of the beings in heaven and earth would be destroyed by the light of the golden crow. There were records of this in the ancient legends. At a certain time in the ancient era, there were 10 golden crows. Even the powerful beings of the ancient era found it hard to survive. Everything in the ancient era was about to be destroyed. Thus, the races started to discuss how to deal with the 10 golden crows. However, the power of the 10 golden crows was too terrifying. Even the ancient gods couldn't get close. At the moment of danger, an ancient prodigy had appeared in the first-ranked ancient race. He had used a peerless divine bow forged by the races to kill 9 golden crows in a single breath. Only then was the world saved. Of course, all of this was a legend. Whether it was real or fake, it showed how terrifying the golden crow race was. My bloodline can absorb the power of the golden crow. Although it's not the golden crow race's bloodline, it's still weird. Zhao Feng murmured. He didn't even dare to think about the top 10 bloodlines of the 10,000 ancient races. They were probably on par with the 8 great god eyes. After all, there were a few fire Dao bloodlines or techniques that could absorb the power of Yang from the golden crow race. For example, the Sky Sun Battle Race bloodline was connected to the golden crow race and could absorb the power of the golden crow race. Zhao Feng let out a long breath and started to withdraw his bloodline power. After one night, his newly born bloodline had been developed to a large extent. As for his bloodline, Zhao Feng planned to ask the Zhao clan after the divine illusion trials ended and see if the Zhao clan had a similar bloodline. Junior Marshal Brother Zhao. The sweet voice of a female sounded from outside the courtyard. Senior Marshal Sister Wan. Zhao Feng walked out of the courtyard and saw the gentle Senior Marshal Sister Wan Rong. Zhao Feng could clearly feel Senior Marshal Brother Guang's jealous gaze. Over the past few months, Senior Marshal Sister Wan Rong had broken through to the True Lord rank and didn't want to give up on the Divine Illusion dimension. Junior Marshal Brother Zhao, Junior Marshal Sister Wan. Senior Marshal Brother Guang squeezed out a smile and walked over. In order to enter the divine illusion dimension, senior martial brother Guang had put in a lot of effort, and with the help of his master, he had reached the half-step origin core realm. The half-step origin core realm was among the upper ranks of the central disciples. However, even then, senior martial brother Guang didn't have absolute confidence that he could obtain a spot. The central disciples formed groups of 3 to 5 and went to participate in the divine illusion trials. Zhao Feng's cultivation was at the origin core realm, which made him stand out amongst the central disciples. Even some core disciples might not be at the origin core realm. Any disciple that reached the origin core realm at this age would have been taken in as a disciple by a king or even an emperor. Facing the current Zhao Feng, senior martial brother Guang had a complicated expression and felt helpless. It was as if no matter what he did, he couldn't stop this youth's rise. The central disciples were extremely respectful towards Zhao Feng and tried their best to get on his good side. Zhao Feng's attitude was slightly cold and arrogant, but it didn't affect the passion of a central disciple. Senior martial brother Guang also wanted to join them, but he was helpless and bitter. He had a worried look on his face. How to resolve his grudge with Zhao Feng was a major problem. Otherwise, with Zhao Feng's rise, it would be hard for him to gain a foothold in the 10,000 Sacred Clan. On an ancient mountain range within the territory of the 10,000 Sacred Clan, all the disciples participating in the divine illusion trials were gathered here. The divine illusion trials were split into 2 groups. One group was made up of the younger generation, and the other group was made up of the older generation. These 2 groups weren't together. All disciples participating in the divine illusion trials are to enter the secret dimension. A void god realm king spoke. Zhao Feng knew this king. It was Huang Yunhu's master, King Lu Yun. A trial is being held in a secret dimension? How extravagant. As expected of a 3-star power. Zhao Feng clicked his tongue. In reality, before the demigod Forgotten Garden opened, the 3-star mystic true sacred clan, which Zhao Feng was from, also held a competition in a secret dimension. But by the time Zhao Feng arrived, the competition for spots had already ended. Back then, it was Duan Muqing who had helped Zhao Feng obtain a spot. The 10,000 Sacred Clan had special rights, and they had a few spots. Wong boom! A faint green whirlpool appeared in the air above the mountain range. Whoosh! 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 The disciples entered the whirlpool. Zhao Feng sat on the Yinming bird and entered the whirlpool with senior martial sister Wan Rong. Bo! They seemed to pass through a layer of water, and they entered a dimension with great pressure. This secret dimension was faintly green, and it was slightly darker than the outside world. The secret dimension was only 100 miles wide, and its layout was similar to the ancient arenas of the Sacred Alliance. From this, it could be seen that this secret realm was specially created for this kind of competition. There were 2 void god realm kings in charge of this secret dimension, and most of the other judges were half-step kings or peak sovereign lords. There were a total of 8 arenas in the arena, but only 4 of them were open. They were in the east, west, south, and north. Every disciple who participated in the selection would receive a number plate when they registered. Zhao Feng was sent to the south arena. There were about 100 core disciples and outer disciples assigned to each arena. Outer disciples could participate in the divine illusion trials as well. Zhao Feng's eyes scanned over and found that there were some familiar people in this group. Most of them were core disciples that he knew. Huang Yunhu, who had lost to Zhao Feng twice, was also in this group. After 2 defeats, Huang Yunhu finally broke through to the origin core realm under his master's scolding. However, a day or 2 after he broke through to the origin core realm, Zhao Feng also broke through. This was undoubtedly a huge blow to him. They're both at the origin core realm, but spiritual pets aren't allowed in the divine illusion trials. Huang Yunhu's eyes twinkled. However, when he thought about how Zhao Feng was able to defeat him, who was at the half-step origin core realm, Huang Yunhu instantly lost his confidence. Lu Tianfan. Oh my god, this guy was sent to the south arena. Exclamations came from the crowd. Everyone's gazes were attracted by a tall youth on the south arena. Lu Tianfan, ranked third among the core disciples. He's at the peak Great Origin Core realm, and he's the personal disciple of an emperor. Zhao Feng obviously knew this person. Most of the top 20 core disciples were at the Origin Core realm. Lu Tianfan. Huang Yunhu's eyes lit up as he immediately walked over. Since they were both core disciples, Huang Yunhu and Lu Tianfan's relationship wasn't bad. At the same time, Zhao Feng's gaze landed on a beautiful girl wearing a colorful robe on the East Arena. Kong Failing, the top core disciple of the 10,000 Sacred Clan, half-step king cultivation, and has an imperial Dao bloodline. Chapter 787. The multicolored robe Kong Failing was obviously the center of attention. Zhao Feng wasn't the only one paying attention to her. Without a doubt, Kong Failing was the prodigy of the 10,000 Sacred Clan, the last disciple of an emperor, an imperial Dao bloodline. She was even listed on the imperial genius rankings. In the Great Gan Lord dynasty, there was the imperial Dao bloodline ranking, which listed the 500 strongest bloodlines. Apart from that, there was the imperial genius rankings, which listed the 500 strongest geniuses. Something worth mentioning was that these two rankings were the survival of the fittest, with some advancing and some retreating. After all, as time progressed, geniuses grew and bloodlines evolved. Within the arena, of all the geniuses of the 10,000 Sacred Clan, Zhao Feng only glanced at Kong Failing a little more and felt that her talent and strength were close to Nan Gongxing's. As if she had sensed something, the beautiful woman of rainbow feathers turned her beautiful eyes to where Zhao Feng was. Instantly, an invisible mental energy pressure covered the area where Zhao Feng was. The 10 geniuses near Zhao Feng felt a suffocating pressure, as if they had been sliced by an invisible blade. Plop! The knees of one of the true spirit realm outer disciples went soft, and he knelt onto the ground. Of these people, only Zhao Feng remained calm and composed, even faintly smiling. That youth! Kong Failing couldn't help but exclaim. Even under the pressure of her half-step intent, that youth was still able to act so casually. Senior Martial Sister Kong. That person is the beast tamer Zhao Feng, who has recently become famous in the sect. I heard that he's the disciple of a mysterious emperor, and Duke Nanfeng even appreciates him. A male in green, next to her, introduced with a smile. The brief exchange of gazes between Zhao Feng and Kong Failing obviously caught the attention of the other geniuses. Who's that guy? He can withstand the half-step intent of the head disciple. The gazes of many geniuses turned toward Zhao Feng. This was especially so for the southern arena where Zhao Feng was. He's the Zhao Feng you were talking about. A sharp light flashed through Lu Tianfan's eyes. Huang Yunhu suppressed the shock in his heart and nodded repeatedly. That's him. Huang Yunhu didn't expect Zhao Feng to be in the limelight this much. Even a half-step king's couldn't suppress him. He had whispered to Lu Tianfan and fanned the flames, hoping that Lu Tianfan would teach Zhao Feng a lesson. You don't need to instigate me. I'm interested in this Zhao Feng. Lu Tianfan gave him a meaningful look. Huang Yunhu felt weak in his heart, and his back was covered in cold sweat. Lu Tianfan's cultivation was only below Kong Failing, who was ranked first in the 10,000 Sacred Clan. Lu Tianfan should be able to teach Zhao Feng a lesson with his strength. Huang Yunhu thought. After all, the difference in their cultivation was too great. One was at the initial Origin Core realm, while the other was at the peak Great Origin Core realm. According to the rules of the Divine Fantasy Trial, there was a high chance that Zhao Feng, Huang Yunhu, and Lu Tianfan would meet. The rules of the competition are an elimination system. If you lose 7 matches in a row, and the total number of matches you lose reaches 20, you will be eliminated from the competition. Zhao Feng said in his heart. The top 50 would be chosen from each arena. At the end, the top 60 would be chosen from the 4 arenas. Even the overall competition adopted an elimination system. Only 60 people were left after the elimination. Why 60? Not 65. This was because 5 of the spots were decided by the clan. Not long after, The battles on the four arenas started at the same time. Plop! Arg! As soon as the battle began, a disciple was sent flying. The victor was decided in an instant. Zhao Feng looked over and couldn't help but shake his head. The 10,000 Sacred Clan disciples participating in the Divine Fantasy trials range from outer disciples to core disciples, then core disciples, and their strengths were all different. If an outer disciple met a core disciple, they would be instantly killed. Round after round, the competition continued. It was soon Zhao Feng's turn. However, his opponent was slightly weak. He was only an early-stage, true Lord rank core disciple. I admit defeat. The true Lord rank core disciple immediately admitted defeat when he saw Zhao Feng, who was at the origin core realm. His cultivation was at the origin core realm, and he was definitely at the top of the younger generation. Rather than being injured, it was better to conserve his strength. Usually, when the difference in strength was too great, the judge would announce the winner early. Just like that, Zhao Feng's first match ended abruptly. Lu Tianfan and Huang Yunhu, who had the highest cultivation in the southern arena, were the same. These two were true disciples. When other disciples encountered them, they would immediately admit defeat. In the eyes of the other disciples, Zhao Feng was no different from a core disciple, and he was even more unfathomable than normal core disciples. Half a day later, Zhao Feng's second opponent was a peak true Lord rank, and he also admitted defeat. Boring. Zhao Feng shook his head. The little thieving cat on his shoulder was also lazy. It wasn't that the battles weren't interesting. Some evenly matched battles, where the weak defeating the strong, also appeared from time to time. Instead, it was Zhao Feng, whose cultivation was at the origin core realm, who stood at the top of the younger generation of the 10,000 Sacred Clan. Compared to back in the Sacred True Dragon Gathering, Zhao Feng's cultivation was below average, and his strength was only above average at the start. At the beginning of the Sacred True Dragon Gathering, the opponents of the 5 overwhelming prodigies were either instantly killed or admitted defeat. It was also very boring. However, the Divine Illusion trials used an elimination system, and the process was very long. The entire Divine Illusion trials would take around 20 days to a month. The Divine Illusion trials was different from the Sacred True Dragon Gathering. The Sacred True Dragon Gathering needed to decide the top 10. On the other hand, the Divine Illusion trials would continuously eliminate people until there were exactly the same number of people left. Until the third battle, Zhao Feng's opponent was a cold-faced youth at the half-step origin core realm, and he was an elite amongst the core disciples. This Zhao Feng has only just reached the origin core realm. If I'm able to fight evenly with him, I might be able to catch the attention of a king elder. The cold-faced youth made up his mind. Although the chances of him winning weren't high, he still decided to try. On the arena, the clash between Zhao Feng and the cold-faced youth attracted the attention of some people. Among them were the strongest in the South Arena, Lu Tianfan, the true disciple Huang Yunhu, and the strongest true disciple, Kong Failing. However, the battle ended faster than he had imagined. Shwa shwa. A faint ripple of wind and lightning was left behind, and the cold-faced youth's attack missed. Not good. Then, he felt a heavy gust of wind coming from behind him. Pung pung. The cold-faced youth was smashed to the ground by the youth behind him. He barely managed to circulate his half-step true Yuan defense, but it was like paper in front of that simple punch. Hua! A wave of shocked exclamations arose within the arena. What speed? Most of the spectators only saw a blur as Zhao Feng punched out, and the cold-faced youth fell to the ground. Those with lower cultivation could only sense Zhao Feng's speed. However, those with higher cultivation had solemn expressions and disbelief. That punch just now didn't seem to contain any true yuan. Huang Yunhu's mouth dropped open. He was paying 120% attention to Zhao Feng's battle. After all, he had lost to Zhao Feng twice. No, Lu Tianfan, who was standing beside him, said with certainty. Just now, Zhao Feng had first closed in with overwhelming speed and then unleashed a simple punch. That punch didn't contain any true yuan, but it easily shattered the defense of a half-step Origin Core realm. After this battle, Zhao Feng's fame rose, and everyone feared him. After that, as long as Zhao Feng's opponents weren't at the Origin Core realm, they would immediately admit defeat. He won 8 matches in a row. In the 9th match, Zhao Feng met Huang Yunhu. Has it started? Huang Yunhu sucked in a deep breath and prepared for battle. He lost to Zhao Feng in both battles, and he even made King Lu Yun lose face. At this moment, King Lu Yun was also paying attention to this battle. Begin. The judge waved his hand. Huang Yunhu circulated his true yuan and covered his body in a thick scarlet crystal armor. He used a precious earth elemental earth-grade armor to defend. Huang Yunhu's strategy is not bad. His advantage is speed. As long as he can stabilize his defense, he can counterattack. Lu Tianfan praised. Pong! In a blur, Zhao Feng's fist slammed into Huang Yunhu's earth-grade armor, and a soul-shaking boom resounded through the air. How is this possible? Huang Yunhu almost vomited blood as he retreated. The instant Zhao Feng punched out, a layer of silver-blue metal appeared on his body. Part of an invisible, domineering force pierced through the earth-rank armor and into his internal organs. The spectators were in an uproar. Huang Yunhu felt like he was sent flying with just one punch. Pung! Pung! Boom! Huang Yunhu's feet left the ground, and he was hit by Zhao Feng's powerful punches before he could stabilize himself. My Earth armor can increase gravity by 10 times when it's activated, but that brat isn't affected at all. Huang Yunhu was shocked as he retreated. Wah! After a few punches, Huang Yunhu spat out a mouthful of blood, and a crack appeared on his armor. Zhao Feng wins. Seeing that the situation was not right, the referee immediately announced the verdict. In reality, this was what King Lu Yun wanted. The two aren't even on the same level. Zhao Feng was able to suppress Yun, who with just his body strengthening technique alone. King Lu Yun sighed. In the battle, he had clearly seen Huang Yunhu barely manage to counterattack and kick Zhao Feng. However, Zhao Feng's body didn't move at all. In other words, Zhao Feng's speed, power, and defense were all at the peak of the same rank. King Lu Yun also noticed that Zhao Feng's attacks were casual, as if he was holding back. This Zhao Feng is very strong. Lu Tianfan had a solemn expression, but his eyes were filled with battle intent. At the back, only a few people like Zhao Feng and Lu Tianfan were still able to maintain their winning streaks. Some geniuses had already been eliminated. As long as they lost 7 matches in a row, or lost 20 matches in a row, they would be eliminated. The core disciples on the southern stage were also looking forward to the battle between Lu Tianfan and Zhao Feng. As more disciples were eliminated, the chances of the two meeting became higher. Finally, after Zhao Feng won his 30th match, he met Lu Tianfan. This battle caught everyone's attention. Even the two kings in the secret dimension looked over with interest. This Lu Tianfan's cultivation has reached the peak sovereign lord level. I can't use my intent or my eye bloodline. For the first time, Zhao Feng felt troubled. Chapter 788. If he didn't use any of his hidden strength, Zhao Feng had no chance of winning against Lu Tianfan, who was at the peak Great Origin Core realm. The difference between the early stage, small Origin Core realm and the peak Great Origin Core realm wasn't just one realm. There were at least 6 small realms between them. Under normal circumstances, it would be a miracle if Zhao Feng wasn't instantly killed. Zhao Feng, I won't underestimate you, but you definitely won't be able to beat me. Lu Tianfan's eyes twinkled as battle intent rose. He was confident, but he wouldn't underestimate this youth that he couldn't see through. Start. The judge waved his hand. Shua. As soon as he finished speaking, a faint blue afterimage of Zhao Feng was left behind, accompanied by arcs of lightning and wind. What speed? The expressions of the spectators changed once again. The speed that Zhao Feng displayed right now was even faster than when he defeated Huang Yunhu and company. It was just as King Lu Yun had analyzed. Zhao Feng had held back a bit in his previous battles. Open. Lu Tianfan stood proudly as his hair and clothes fluttered in the wind. He didn't even look as he threw a punch to the side. Boom! That punch carried a surging dark purple halo. The terrifying power instantly sucked away all the air in the arena. The disciples near the southern arena all held their breaths. Wong bam! A silver-blue metallic figure surrounded by a layer of ripples. The water of wind thunder was blocked by Lu Tianfan's fist. Instantly, a terrifying wave of fire and lightning swept across the entire arena. Lu Tianfan stood proudly without moving. On the other hand, Zhao Feng's figure was instantly pushed back 100 yards, and he was still retreating. He was instantly killed in one move. All the experts in the secret realm looked at the sky above the southern arena. Boom! Zhao Feng's figure couldn't be stopped and was about to fly out of the arena. At this critical moment, shwa, whoosh, a pair of wind-lightning wings formed behind Zhao Feng's back, giving off a dreamy feeling. Under the high-speed flapping of the tempest wings, Zhao Feng advanced instead of retreating. That kid actually didn't suffer any obvious injuries from that strike just now. Lu Tianfan's expression turned serious. If Zhao Feng only cultivated the 5-elemental wind-lightning technique, he would be severely injured by a peak Great Origin Core realm head-on. However, after his reincarnation, he had also cultivated the Golden Kuan sacred lightning body. His powerful physique greatly increased his battle prowess, and his defense was also monstrous. With the help of the water bloodline and the water of wind lightning, the minor injuries could be healed quickly. Sacred lightning body. Zhao Feng cried out in alarm as a layer of bluish-silver metallic luster appeared over his body. In that instant, his body grew a little taller and emitted a layer of sacred body energy that seemed to have materialized. In the air, a layer of translucent silver-blue electric patterns could be vaguely seen. Boom! Zhao Feng swooped down from the sky, his immense physical strength bringing with it a terrifying momentum. What a strong physique! Lu Tianfan's body sank as he felt the blood and qi in his body being suppressed. He had no choice but to split his quintessential origin energy to protect his internal organs. On top of that, the physical strength that Zhao Feng released contained an additional feeling of lightning on top of the child demigods. Not only did Lu Tianfan feel the pressure, but he also felt his body go slightly numb. Which emperor did that Zhao Feng come from? How did he comprehend such a profound body-strengthening technique? The two Void God Realm Kings within the secret dimension were stunned. Even with the foundation of the 10,000 Sacred Clan, it would be hard for them to find a body-strengthening technique of this level. Zhao Feng's body was like that of a demon, and as he charged down, a dark blue lightning wind dragon appeared on his fist and gave off a palpitating aura. Boom! The dark blue lightning wind dragon smashed toward Lu Tianfan with the support of the sacred lightning body. Swooping down from the sky, coupled with the speed boost from the wings of Tempest, the power of the attack was raised to the extreme. Unparalleled purple G, enveloped by the terrifying power and raging wind and thunder, several domineering purple beams of light shot out in all directions. Whoosh! Whoosh! Soon after, hundreds and thousands of dark purple light beams shot out in all directions, covering 360 degrees with no blind spots. In an instant, the air above the arena was pierced by countless beams of purple light, and they formed a destructive attack. The two figures clashed head-on once or twice in the storm of wind, lightning, and purple light. In the first blow, Zhao Feng had the advantage and pushed Lu Tianfan back a step. In the second blow, the power of the unparalleled purple G was fully unleashed, and it pushed Zhao Feng back dozens of yards. Ice Imperial Spear. A layer of ice-blue liquid covered Zhao Feng's body, forming a dark blue armor of ice and water. The ice-water battle armor rippled with lightning patterns and was ever-changing. Whoosh! Whoosh! The beams of purple light that could severely injure a small Origin Core realm started to smoke after hitting Zhao Feng's body. With the help of the ice water bloodline and the water of wind lightning, the armor formed by Zhao Feng's Ice Imperial Spear didn't just have defense, it also had the power of lightning. Anyone who attacked, it would be struck by lightning as well. Adding on the defense of the sacred lightning body, Lu Tianfan's Great Origin Core Realm secret technique couldn't threaten Zhao Feng at all. Whoosh! Whoosh! The wings behind Zhao Feng's back fluttered, and he flew into the air at an extremely fast speed before diving down. Inside the secret realm, some of the disciples gasped in amazement. Even the referee of the South Arena was dumbfounded. This battle had been personally adjudicated by the host king. It's hard to imagine that Zhao Feng has the initiative and is using the advantage to his advantage. King Lu Yun sighed. Unfortunately, with the difference in cultivation, Zhao Feng won't be able to gain any advantage in a head-on clash, and he might even be lightly injured. One of the kings sighed. It was already a miracle that Zhao Feng was able to do this. On the other hand, Lu Tianfan had a solemn expression, and he felt frustrated. His speed wasn't bad, and because of the advantage in cultivation, he wasn't any slower than Zhao Feng. However, Zhao Feng's lightning wings were too profound, and he had even comprehended the principles of space. Every time he dove down, he would use the force of his sacred body to increase his power. If he was in the air, Lu Tianfan wouldn't be able to touch Zhao Feng's lightning wings, and Zhao Feng would be able to find more openings. From the looks of it, it'll be very hard to beat Lu Tianfan without using my intent and eye bloodline. Zhao Feng used a lot of true yuan as he flew. He would definitely lose if the battle dragged on. The first thing he used was his ice water bloodline, which was used for defense and healing. Right at this moment, the other bloodline power within Zhao Feng's body felt like it was about to move. Let's give it a try. Zhao Feng's ice water armor turned into water and merged into his body. Wang, a bright red glass-like flame surrounded Zhao Feng's body. In this instant, Zhao Feng's entire body seemed to be bathed in flames. His entire body was bright red, and with the addition of his sacred lightning body, he seemed like a flaming demonic sovereign. Bam! The lightning wings on Zhao Feng's back fluttered as he charged down and punched out. Zhao Feng felt a carefree feeling in that punch. Before his fist even arrived, a blood-colored flame exploded and lit up everything within 100 yards. What kind of bloodline is that? Lu Qianfan's body felt like it was being burned and corroded. The bloodline power was unyielding and domineering. It could burn and explode and was extremely corrosive to the flesh and blood of living beings. Zhao Feng's sacred body released this bloodline power to the maximum and poured it into his target's body. The wings of wind and thunder pushed this attack to the peak in terms of speed. A layer of water lightning surrounded Zhao Feng's body, and it was a combination of offense and defense. Boom! The two clashed once again, but it was different from before. This time, the figure that was pushed back was Lu Tianfan. Boom! Zhao Feng was like a flaming demonic sovereign. His body was covered in bright red flames, and his lightning wings flapped. The power of his fists and palms had reached a terrifying level. Every single strike of his caused blood-colored flames to explode. They were extremely powerful and violent, and then they burned and corroded. Purple flame protection. Lu Tianfan also became angry. A layer of dark purple flaming armor covered his body, and his offense and defense increased dramatically as he clashed with Zhao Feng. Inside the mystic realm, all the spectators held their breaths. What kind of bloodline is that red flame on Zhao Feng's body? It's so powerful. Everyone was shocked. In terms of bloodline, Zhao Feng was several levels higher than Lu Tianfan. The aura of his bloodline was as domineering as an emperor's. It's an imperial Dao bloodline. It's similar to the 81st ranked Blood Devil Sun bloodline, but it's even more unique and has the aura of an ancient bloodline. Could it be that the Blood Devil Sun bloodline has evolved in Zhao Feng's body, and his ranking has increased? King Lu Yun and another king discussed. Imperial Dao bloodlines were ranked 500th, and they included the continent zone and the surrounding oceans. These bloodlines were passed down from later generations, and they were separated from the 10,000 ancient races. Imperial Dao bloodline. Kong Failing, who was on the eastern stage, felt her bloodline tremble. She finally understood why she could sense Zhao Feng before. She felt that Zhao Feng's Imperial Dao bloodline was more ancient than hers, and its explosive power was stronger. The battle continued. The life force within Lu Tianfan's body was being burned and corroded. Every round of attacks from Zhao Feng would take away some of his essence. Although Zhao Feng's true yuan was almost empty, Lu Tianfan's injuries were several times worse. "Stop!" King Lu Yun roared as a surge of magnificent power descended and stopped the battle. This battle ended in a draw. This Zhao Feng actually has a mutated Imperial Dao bloodline. If he was at the Great Origin Core Realm, or even the Peak Small Origin Core Realm, I would have been the one to lose. Lu Tianfan's heart beat faster. If Zhao Feng only had an Imperial Dao bloodline, it wouldn't be a big deal. However, his other two techniques, the Golden Kuin's Sacred Lightning Body and the 5-Elemental Wind Lightning Technique, were also monstrous. After taking over the body and reviving, Zhao Feng's future would be brighter if he cultivated the best skills and unearthed a peak bloodline. I'll need to ask the Zhao clan about this Imperial Dao bloodline after I return. Zhao Feng murmured. Originally, Zhao Feng's parents had died early and he had been an orphan since he was young. Several days later, the Divine Illusion trials had ended. Only 50 people were left in each arena. After that, this was the Divine Fantasy Trials overall competition. After many rounds of elimination, only 60 people remained. Zhao Feng didn't meet anyone that was his match in the overall Divine Illusion trials. The battle power he displayed was enough to rank him in the top 3 of the 10,000 Sacred Clan's core disciples. Almost all his opponents immediately surrendered. As long as he didn't meet Kong Failing, Zhao Feng didn't need to worry at all. On the other hand, Lu Tianfan met Kong Failing, who was ranked first in the 10,000 Sacred Clan. Chapter 789. Faced with Kong Failing, Lu Tianfan was extremely cautious and solemn. The battle had only just begun. Purple Flame Protection. A dark purple flaming armor covered Lu Tianfan's body, and it released a surge of flames. Maybe because his opponent was too strong, but the battle power that Lu Tianfan displayed right from the start was even stronger than when he fought against Zhao Feng. Shua. With a flash of multicolored light, Kong Failing arrived before Lu Tianfan with an elegant step. Although it seemed slow, it was actually faster than Zhao Feng's wings of wind and lightning. Wang, a rainbow-colored light feather phantom image rose from Kong Failing's lily-white hand. It was like 100 flowers blooming, gorgeous and brilliant, as it slashed at Lu Tianfan, who, after completing the purple flame protection, Lu Tianfan punched out with both fists and sent out 2 dark purple, flaming dragons that roared. The heat was enough to instantly kill normal, small Origin Core realms. From the looks of it, Lu Tianfan wasn't able to use his full battle power when fighting me. Zhao Feng murmured in a low tone. No matter what, Lu Tianfan's cultivation surpassed it by too much. Furthermore, Zhao Feng's speed and agility were also limiting factors. Crack! The sound of something shattering came from the arena. Lu Tianfan exclaimed as he retreated in a ruffled state. The purple flaming armor on his body was shattered by Kong Failing's casual slash. Kong Failing's movements were elegant and calm. With a gentle wave of her jade-like hand, beautiful and crystalline light feather phantoms appeared. The light flashed with a mysterious and noble aura, and it showed signs of becoming solid. Wah! Lu Tianfan spat out a mouthful of blood before he could even last 3 moves. The strength of the number 1 core disciple of the 10,000 Sacred Clan is indeed worthy of its name. Kong Failing didn't even use her Imperial Dao bloodline, but Lu Tianfan couldn't fight back at all. The spectators broke out into chaos. Many disciples were stunned by Kong Failing's strength. Not only did Kong failing not use her Imperial Dao bloodline, she didn't even use her full strength. Zhao Feng saw it even more clearly. This feeling was similar to when Zhao Feng fought Huang Yunhu. Let's end it. Lu Tianfan, your strength hasn't improved much either. Kong failing chuckled. As soon as he said this, his half-step king intent brought with it a formless, magnificent power that suppressed the air. Bzz. Kong failing's body was enveloped by the outline of a huge, seven-colored feather. It extended hundreds of feet and was beautiful and majestic. This is Kong failing's imperial bloodline. Zhao Feng was slightly surprised. Peng. Lu Tianfan's body was like a piece of paper as Kong failing pushed him through the air. He vomited blood and was sent flying out of the arena. Kong failing wins, the referee announced. There was no suspense in this battle. If Kong failing had not gone easy on him, Lu Tianfan would not have been able to last one or two moves. Kong failing, ranked 298th on the royal roll. There was some relevant information in Zhao Feng's memory. After all, the 10,000 Sacred Clan was a 3-star power, and their headcore disciple wasn't any weaker than the other 3-star powers. The weakest of the Imperial Role geniuses were at the half-step Origin Core realm or the peak Great Origin Core realm. From this, one could guess how strong Luo Zun, who was ranked in the top 100, was. Within the Secret Realm arena, as time passed, more and more disciples were eliminated from the sect. From 200 to 150, from 150 to 100. The number of geniuses participating decreased. This meant that the chances of Zhao Feng and Kong failing meeting each other increased. According to the rules of the selection, the number of opponents that had not fought before would be closer. Finally, 2 days before the end of the selection, Zhao Feng and Kong failing ran into each other. I'm very interested in your true strength. Kong failing smiled faintly. Before the selection started, her half-step king intent felt like it had sunk into the ocean when she tried to test Zhao Feng. She felt that Zhao Feng's true strength wasn't revealed when he fought Lu Tianfan. I admit defeat. Zhao Feng casually glanced at Kong failing and the judge before jumping off the stage. This scene made Kong failing feel like she was choking, and she stomped her foot hard. The rest of the spectators were also startled. According to the rules, since Zhao Feng had the strength to become one of the top 3 core disciples of the 10,000 Sacred Clan, he should have exchanged a few blows with Kong failing. However, no one expected Zhao Feng to admit defeat so decisively. Within the Secret Realm, the 2 Void God Realm Kings also had regretful expressions. The 2 Void God Realm Kings could tell that Zhao Feng had some secrets that he probably didn't want to see. The more that was the case, the more curious they were about Zhao Feng. Let's see if you can't expose yourself after we enter the divine illusion dimension. Kong failing snickered coldly and walked off the arena in disappointment. In the 10,000 Sacred Clan, she was unrivaled among the younger generation. The only person she couldn't see through was Zhao Feng, which made her slightly interested. However, he didn't want to fight with her. This made her feel helpless and frustrated. Another 2 days later, the divine illusion trials ended. After more than 20 days of repeated eliminations, there were finally 60 absolute elite disciples who had been selected. Zhao Feng scanned the crowd, but he didn't see Senior Martial Sister Wan Rong. It was reasonable that Senior Martial Sister Wan hadn't passed the divine illusion trials since she had just reached the True Lord rank. The lowest cultivation of the 60 disciples was at the peak True Lord rank or half-step Origin Core realm. These disciples all had battle power at least at the half-step Origin Core realm. Huang Yunhu and Senior Martial Brother Wang were also present. So, the disciples that had passed the trials all left the secret realm. Those that had been eliminated had left long ago. A while later, a total of 60 elite disciples appeared on the ancient mountain range. Junior Martial Brother Zhao, congratulations on passing the divine illusion trials. You must grasp this fortune. Senior Martial Sister Wan Rong was waiting on the mountain range. Although she wasn't in a good mood, her blessings for Zhao Feng came from the bottom of her heart. Zhao Feng sighed in his heart. Back then, In order to hide some of his secrets, he used a heart-controlling technique to make Senior Marshall's sister, Wan Rong, have a good impression of him. Now, Senior Marshall's sister Wan Rong's impression of him was increasing day by day. After all, in her eyes, that handsome youth had risen and matured step by step, becoming a dazzling star in the eyes of tens of thousands of people. However, Senior Marshall's sister Wan Rong knew that the distance between her and Zhao Feng was becoming bigger and bigger. There's still a month or so until the divine illusion dimension opens. Go back and consolidate your strength and study the divine illusion dimension. The two kings said a few words in the air before disappearing. After passing the divine illusion trials, every disciple would receive a set of secret information regarding the divine illusion dimension. Zhao Feng also received this information. Zhao Feng couldn't help but shake his head in disappointment as he quickly scanned through the so-called secret information. It was obvious that this information was miles away from the one that Duke Nanfeng had given him in terms of both content and depth. Zhao Feng guessed that the disciples of kings and emperors would be able to obtain even more secret information. Zhao Feng had already learned everything about the divine illusion dimension from the Imperials. Just as Duke Nanfeng had said, people didn't even know 10% of the divine illusion dimension. There's still a month or so left. I should focus on raising my foundation, Zhao Feng murmured. After returning to his residence, Zhao Feng immediately opened the array and put up the seclusion token. For the next month or so, with sufficient resources, Zhao Feng focused on cultivation, and his cultivation was naturally progressing rapidly. 1 month later, Zhao Feng's cultivation had broken through to the middle stages of the small origin core realm. Of course, a lot of resources were used to increase his cultivation. Zhao Feng's 5 elemental wind lightning technique also became stronger. However, right now, his wind lightning technique was stuck at the peak 5th level and hadn't broken through to the 6th level yet. On the other hand, my cultivation is limiting the speed of my wind lightning technique, Zhao Feng murmured. If he had reached the great origin core realm or the peak late stage small origin core realm, his wind lightning technique might have broken through to the 6th level already. In this 1 month, Zhao Feng's cultivation of the golden Kuan sacred lightning body didn't stop. After passing the divine illusion trials, Zhao Feng started to taste the benefits of having a strong physical body. If one's body was truly strong, they could ignore their opponent's cultivation and bloodline and crush them. The child demigod was like this back then. The child demigod's sacred body was able to suppress the Emperor of Death's body when he was only a king. On the other hand, Zhao Feng's sacred lightning body was even stronger than the golden Kuan sacred body. The sacred lightning body that Zhao Feng cultivated contained the element of lightning, and when it reached a certain level, everything that passed by would be turned into ashes by the power of lightning within his body. Zhao Feng didn't even need to do anything. Anyone that attacked him will be turned into ashes. In the future, when the 5 elemental wind lightning was completed, his sacred lightning body would be immune to all sorts of attacks from the 5 elements. Right now, Zhao Feng had only cultivated the water of wind lightning, so he had a certain amount of resistance against the elements of ice and water. If he also cultivated the wood of wind lightning and the fire of wind lightning, he would also have a certain amount of resistance against them. The sacred lightning body had the strongest resistance against the Tao of lightning, and it could even absorb the power of lightning. Back then, Lei Jun from the 10,000 Lightning Sect was able to absorb Zhao Feng's wind lightning attacks. Once I cultivate the golden Kuan sacred lightning body to the late stages, my ability to face the God Tribulation will be much stronger in the future. Zhao Feng was filled with hope and confidence towards the future. Time passed by quickly. The day when the divine illusion dimension would open was getting closer and closer. The last few days, Zhao Feng stopped cultivating and entered the ancient dream realm to absorb more heaven-earth yuan qi. The atavism of his body and bloodline was also slowly increasing. Over the past few days, the purity and awakening of Zhao Feng's imperial Tao bloodline were also increasing. On the night before the divine illusion dimension opened, Within the 10,000 sacred clan, 100 elites of the clan were waiting quietly on a pitch-black stage. The divine illusion dimension is slowly merging with the land around the continent zone. The time of connection might be brought forward, or it might be delayed. The elites of the sects present discussed in low voices. Zhao Feng scanned over the 10,000 sacred clan, and there were 35 experts of the older generation. What was weird was that there was even a void god realm king among them. He was relatively young, only around 50 to 60 years old. Zhao Feng guessed that the 10,000 sacred clan had some method to send a void god realm king into the divine illusion dimension. Some of the clans, families, and imperials should have connected by now. We'll be a day slower near the coast. Near the base of the stage, a few figures shrouded in magnificent power discussed in low voices. Chapter 790. Within a group of palaces floating above the clouds in the Great Gone Lord dynasty, Wang, a sparkling white passageway suddenly appeared on a huge golden-orange disk. It was faintly discernible, and it seemed to be somewhere between solid and nothingness. The divine illusion dimension has successfully connected. A powerful voice sounded across heaven and earth, and even the nearby kings and emperors felt their hearts shake. First, Xianyuan won. A handsome young man appeared in front of the sparkling white passageway. He looked cultured and somewhat bashful. However, none of the several hundred disciples and elites of Sky's Suspension Palace dared to underestimate him. Their eyes were filled with respect and fear. Xianyuan won, as well as the male and female disciples behind him, were all void god realm kings. Brothers and sisters, I'll be going first. Xianyuan was refined and courteous, his smile somewhat bashful as he cupped his fists and bowed to everyone. Master, I won't disappoint you. Finally, he glanced at the elder whose cultivation was at least at the demigod level, but he seemed like a piece of deadwood. The elder's aura was extremely normal, as if he was immortal. Boom! When Xianyuan stepped into the pathway, space trembled, and cracks started to appear in the white light. Xianyuan isn't a normal king. He's already surpassed the limits of the pathway. Any other 3-star power probably wouldn't dare to try this. Some kings and emperors around the golden-orange disk discussed in private. Under normal circumstances, if Xianyuan forcefully entered the pathway, he would be torn into countless pieces by the power of space. Right at this critical moment, Wang, a strange piece of jade on Xianyuan's body, gave off a pure white ripple of light. The tearing power of the shattered space immediately melted the moment it touched him. Ancient God Weapon Fragment. A series of exclamations came from the vicinity of the giant disk. Ancient God weapons were the domain of gods. The divine illusion dimension was a dimension left behind by ancient God Hua. Only the power of gods could deal with gods. Shua. Xianyuan used the protection of the ancient god weapon fragment and disappeared at the end of the pathway. There's a weakness to those who teleport in, which is that they'll be teleported to a random corner of the divine illusion dimension. A void god realm emperor murmured. Swoosh! The male and female void god realm kings behind Xianyuan also used their own methods to enter the divine illusion dimension. Great Qian Dynasty, Duanmu family. Above a sparkling blue lake, there was a dazzling green passageway. Yufei, are you ready? The fortune and danger in the divine illusion dimension are much greater than the demigod Forgotten Garden. Duanmu Qing said with a smile. At the bottom of the jade-green passageway, there was a group of family disciples and elites. The person in the lead was a young woman that was elegant like a celestial. Her skin was snow white like jade and suffused with a faint luster, and she was like a lifelike and exquisitely carved celestial jade sculpture. I'm ready. Zhao Yufei smiled sweetly. She was so beautiful that everyone was stunned. She slowly walked towards the jade-green passage. The jade-green passageway was as stable as ever, without any tremors or abnormalities. Unbelievable. He's only a void god realm king, yet he can cross the tunnels so easily. This girl really has the bloodline of the spirit race. There's hope for our Duanmu family to rise again. Some of the older members of the Duanmu family had excited expressions. With the Duanmu family's strength, they could only send a normal king in. However, Zhao Yufei's situation saved them a spot. The spirit race's affinity with heaven and earth is unparalleled. I'll be able to become an emperor soon. Duanmu Qing sent off Zhao Yufei's figure with his eyes, entrusting some kind of emotion to her. Song Ocean, true martial sacred land. On the 10,000 ancient sacred peak, there were 200 to 300 disciples and elites from the mystic true sacred clan and Thousand Darkness sacred clan. We'll be able to connect later than the continent zone. We'll be able to connect in a couple more days. The combined forces of our 2 3-star sects can barely send Nangongsheng and Meng Shi, 2 king geniuses. The upper echelon of the 2 sects discussed in low tones. The divine illusion dimension's range was extremely wide. It wasn't just the continent zone that could connect. As long as the forces nearby were strong enough, they could connect as well. However, due to the distance, only a few 3-star sects had the ability to connect to the divine illusion dimension. On the continent zone side, some 2-star sects could connect as well. It could be said that those that could enter the divine illusion dimension were all elites from the continent zone and the nearby forces. There were almost no inheritances or secret realms that could be compared to the divine illusion dimension. On the black stage of the 10,000 sacred clan, the disciples and the elites of the older generation were all waiting for him. Some of the forces from the continent zone might have already connected, but will have to wait for a bit. Lu Tianfan smiled as he stood next to Zhao Feng. The 2 of them had fought to a draw in the divine illusion trials. Not only was Lu Tianfan not angry, he even took the initiative to become friends with Zhao Feng. Lu Tianfan's calmness made Zhao Feng have a good impression of him, and he learned a bit about the lore dynasties from him. The geniuses and elites of the Great Gone lore dynasty, the Dark Moon lore dynasty, and the nearby 4-star sects will all enter the divine illusion dimension. Lu Tianfan sighed. The weakest force that connected to the divine illusion dimension was a 2-star power or a 2-star force. How small was the 10,000 sacred clan compared to the other super forces? Zhao Feng realized how grand the divine illusion dimension was. In comparison, the inheritances and secret realms he had entered before were like playing house. Before connecting to the divine illusion dimension, a king elder from the 10,000 sacred clan told everyone what to take note of. First, there were some dangers within the divine illusion dimension. Next, don't offend the 3-star sects and the forces above them, such as the Imperials, the 8 big families, and the 4-star sections. The king warned solemnly. After all, the 10,000 sacred clan wasn't a 3-star force anymore. Firstly, the strength of the elites of 3-star and even 4-star forces wasn't something that 2-star forces could compare to. Even if they were at the same cultivation, there would be a huge difference in strength. Taking a step back, if they weren't careful and killed the elites of the Imperials or 4-star forces, it would be a disaster for the 10,000 sacred clan. Of course, 3-star and 4-star forces aren't the minority. Most of you will meet 2-star forces in the divine illusion dimension. The king paused. 3-star forces were extremely rare even in the Lord dynasty. As for 4-star forces, the chances of meeting them in the divine illusion dimension were extremely small. About a day had passed. A wisp of strange and obscure spatial fluctuation appeared on the pitch-black pedestal. If it weren't for the fact that Zhao Feng's senses were extremely strong, he might not have been able to sense it. We can connect now. The hearts of the kings from the 10,000 sacred clan shook. Immediately after, the array opened, and a faint golden pathway appeared on the black stage that seemed to lead to the other side of space. Yin Hao, get ready. Several void god realm kings and an emperor looked toward the youth at the front. Yin Hao was a special person from the older generation. The divine illusion trials of the 10,000 sacred clan were split into the older generation and the younger generation. Those under 50 years of age were the younger generation. Those over 50 years of age were the older generation. This Yunhao happened to be 50 or 60 years old, but he had the cultivation of a void god realm king. It was obvious that the 10,000 sacred clan wanted to raise him. Senior Yunhao, please take care of me. On the stage, some of the younger disciples were extremely respectful towards Yunhao. Kong Failing and Yunhao represented the two strongest geniuses of the 10,000 sacred clan. In reality, Kong Failing had an imperial Dao bloodline, so her true strength wasn't much different from a void god realm king. The first to enter was Yunhao. At this moment, some of the kings and elders of the clan watched nervously. Who? Yunhao took a deep breath and stepped into the pale gold passageway. Wong boom. As soon as he stepped in, the faint golden pathway started to become unstable. Stabilize the array. One void god realm emperor and 8 kings teamed up near the black stage. Only then did the golden passageway stabilize a little. Cold sweat appeared on Yunhao's forehead, and he immediately sped up into the faint golden pathway. Boom! His figure was about to disappear at the end of the faint golden pathway. The 8 kings and 1 void god realm emperor's faces were pale white, and they seemed to have expended a lot of yuan qi. Just as everyone thought that Yunhao was about to succeed. Arg! Yunhao let out a miserable shriek as a spatial crack suddenly appeared and split him into countless pieces. The spatial crack was like a spider web, and it radiated a forbidden aura. Sii. The elders and disciples of the 10,000 sacred clan were all stunned and took in cold breaths. The black stage was deathly silent for a long time. We failed. Yunhao's luck is too bad. After all, the 10,000 sacred clan isn't a 3-star power anymore. Size and size of regret were left behind. The higher one's cultivation, the lower the success rate. Unless the clan was extremely strong or had a unique bloodline like the spiritual race, or someone like Nan Gongxing's spatial spiritual body, which is extremely compatible with space, the success rate would increase. A long time later, on the pitch-black platform, the formation stabilized and continued to transmit. The second person was Kong Failing. Kong Failing only had the cultivation of a half-step king, so she disappeared at the end of the pathway. Luckily, Kong Failing is fine. Only then did the experts of the sex heave a sigh of relief. Without a doubt, Kong Failing had an imperial Dao bloodline, so her talent was even higher. Shua, shua, shua. The disciples and elites of the clan disappeared at the end of the pathway. After that, Yunhao's tragedy didn't happen again. At a certain moment, it was Zhao Feng's turn to enter the pathway. The strength of my soul isn't simple. Zhao Feng was slightly worried. He was only at the middle stages of the small origin core realm, so there was nothing to worry about. However, the capacity of the pathway was related to the power of the soul. Shua. Zhao Feng concealed his power and carefully stepped onto the pathway. However, halfway there, Zhao Feng felt a slight tremor in the passage, and his heart jumped to his throat. Chapter 791. After reaching the void god realm, one's soul would change. It wasn't a simple form of nothingness. It contained great power. Regardless of whether it was the physical body or the soul, they were all carried by space. Any one of them would exceed the limit of space if they reached a certain level. The same logic applied to the passage in front of him. The strength of my soul is on par with normal void god realm kings, and it might even be slightly stronger. Zhao Feng felt the passage tremble slightly. This trembling exceeded Kong Failing's, and it was even close to Yunhao's, who had been torn apart by the spatial cracks. Could it be that he would follow in Yunhao's footsteps? Zhao Feng's heart clenched. In this moment of danger, Zhao Feng was even prepared to use his God's Eye again. No matter what, staying alive was the most important thing. Luckily, the trembling was only close to Yunhao's level, but it wasn't as strong as Yunhao's. The passage's feedback to the physical dimension was stronger. The crystal core within a void god realm king's body could form a dimension of true yuan, which was extremely powerful. However, Zhao Feng's true yuan cultivation had stopped at the middle stages of the small origin core realm. At this moment in time, Zhao Feng felt lucky that his cultivation wasn't that high. In reality, in some forces, some elites would purposely not break through to the void god realm in order to deal with the divine illusion dimension. Once they entered the divine illusion dimension, they would immediately break through. In this way, the risk would be reduced to the minimum. Shua. When Zhao Feng appeared, he felt his body and soul become heavy. An ancient and boundless pressure surged over. This was the aura of the ancient era and ancient era. When he appeared, Zhao Feng felt as if he had entered the ancient dream realm. The pressure here wasn't just one level higher than in the demigod Forgotten Garden. The entire dimension was dark, but it didn't affect one's vision too much. In his field of vision, there was an endless stretch of yellow desert, sand and dust howling in the air. Shua, shua, shua. Several figures appeared next to Zhao Feng. They were all disciples and older elites of the 10,000 Sacred Clan. A while later, a total of 99 people appeared in this strange dimension. Everyone gather. Under the instructions of a few older elites, Kong Failing began to gather the members. When the divine illusion dimension connected, people from the same area would be teleported to a similar location. For example, the geniuses that entered from the 10,000 Sacred Clan would appear at the same place in the divine illusion dimension. All of the other factions in the Tianfeng Great Island Zone were relatively close to this area. However, there were only a few forces in the Great Island Zone that could connect to the divine illusion dimension, including the Duke's Palace. Old Fei, where are we in the divine illusion dimension? Kong Failing asked. Currently, her strength was probably one of the best in the group. But in terms of experience, Kong Failing was not as experienced as some of the older elites. The elder Fei she asked about was an old man in his 70s who held a spinning staff in his hand. This old Fei was the most experienced and had entered the divine illusion dimension twice before. Although he didn't gain much, he had survived and accumulated a lot of experience. We can't confirm the exact location yet. The divine illusion dimension is too big, and it's possible that we've entered an unknown area. Old Fei's face was filled with wrinkles. His cultivation had also reached the half-step king realm, and he could easily defeat those of the same cultivation. Next, the group from the 10,000 Sacred Clan started to explore the nearby area. The pressure in the divine illusion dimension was very strong, and all senses were suppressed. Those below the void god realm would find it hard to fly. Great origin core realms and half-step kings could only fly for a short time. Therefore, it was very difficult for outsiders to explore this dimension. The desert in front of them was filled with yellow dirt, and it was impossible to see the end. Only a while later, in the distance, the disciples who were exploring the area started fighting with the unknown life forms. Some elites from the 10,000 Sacred Clan heard the news and went over to help. Zhao Feng's god spiritual eye looked into the distance. He saw several large, sharp-toothed rats with red eyes fighting with the disciples of the 10,000 Sacred Clan. The bodies of these sharp-toothed rats were extremely tough, and normal True Lord rank attacks wouldn't be able to injure them. This lasted until an elder at the Origin Core realm arrived and killed one of the sharp-toothed rats with a palm. The other sharp-toothed rats screamed in panic as they hid in the nearby caves. These sharp-toothed rats are ancient species, and their fur and teeth are extremely rare. The elder at the Origin Core realm said with joy. After that, the elites of the 10,000 Sacred Clan met some rat-type life forms. These explorers were in groups of 3 to 5, and each group had a sovereign lord, so there was no danger. Zhao Feng and Lu Tianfan's group also met a battle. Zhao Feng suddenly sensed something and couldn't help but descend. Watch out! Lu Tianfan let out a loud roar, and a surging dark purple halo of light blasted into the yellow sand and stones below. Boom! Several members of this small team borrowed the force of the impact to fly back several hundred feet. In the next instant, a cold screech sounded from the sand, and a large black scorpion broke out of the ground. The large black scorpion was dozens of yards long, and its body seemed to be made of metal. Its claws and tail flashed with a cold and poisonous light. Sii. Everyone couldn't help but take in a cold breath. The attack just now only left some faint marks on the surface of the black scorpion's metallic shell. Watch out for the scorpion's poison. Lu Tianfan took out an earth-grade long saber and slashed toward the large black scorpion. Dang! This slash was actually blocked by the giant black scorpion's pincers. Pung! A powerful force even forced Lu Tianfan to take a few steps back. If it was a one-on-one fight, Lu Tianfan's chances of winning were very small, and his best choice would be to run. However, teams usually work together in the divine illusion dimension. Only some peak elites that had reached the Void God realm had the right to move alone. Ah! Zhao Feng exclaimed as a layer of silver-blue metal appeared around him, and he lightly punched out. Boom! An invisible surge of physical force landed on the large black scorpion. This surge of physical force was enough to make normal small origin core realms cough out blood. However, the black scorpion's body and blood were extremely strong, and its speed was restricted in just a flash. However, that wasn't all Zhao Feng had. He pointed out with his finger, and wisps of water of wind lightning turned into a fan-shaped shockwave that swept across the large black scorpion. Shoo! A numbing sensation once again restricted the large black scorpion. Bam! Bam! Combining his physical force and the water of wind lightning, Zhao Feng restricted the large black scorpion from the side. His speed, as well as his essence, were extremely high. The black scorpion couldn't even hit Zhao Feng. 10 breaths later, Zhao Feng and Lu Tianfan were the main force, and they forced the black scorpion to retreat. However, the black scorpion's defense was extremely strong, and it wasn't heavily injured. Soon, several Primal Core Realm seniors arrived. Their powerful combat experience easily suppressed the black scorpion. The older, the wiser. Lu Tianfan sighed. The experts of the older generation were mostly at the Great Origin Core Realm, and they were extremely experienced in battle. A while later, the black scorpion was surrounded, and it didn't even have a chance to escape with the help of the older elites. The battle power of these older elites is very strong. Zhao Feng nodded his head. He estimated that the 60 or so juniors combined wouldn't be a match for the 30 or so seniors. In the boundless desert, the group from the 10,000 Sacred Clan started to advance in an orderly manner. Some experts even took out their mounts. Land spiritual beasts were more suitable in the desert. Due to the pressure of space and the sandstorm, flying spiritual beasts weren't suitable. Therefore, Zhao Feng didn't summon the Yiming bird right now. He started to see if there were any suitable mounts in the desert. Half a day later, the sky above the desert was filled with dark clouds, and it was strangely calm. At this moment, they didn't meet any other life forms. Wait! Elder Fei, who seemed like an advisor, suddenly waved his hand. The weather isn't looking good. I've lived in the desert before when I was on a mission. If I'm not wrong, a giant sandstorm is about to arrive. Old Fei's eyebrows furrowed. Sandstorm? The expressions of the elites of the 10,000 Sacred Clan changed dramatically. If it was in the outside world, they wouldn't put normal sandstorms in their eyes. However, the divine illusion dimension was extremely high, and they didn't even have the ability to fly. The power of the natural disasters here couldn't be underestimated. At this moment, the powerful life forms in the desert were nowhere to be seen. Old Fei, what should we do? Kong Failing asked. Without a suitable place to hide, it'll be very hard for us to avoid the sandstorm. The only way is to find a high spot and set up an array. Old Fei said in a solemn tone. His suggestion was immediately agreed upon. They found a high spot and combined their strength to quickly construct a temporary defensive formation. Sung. The disciples of the 10,000 Sacred Clan started to move. A while later, the team found a relatively high Gobi mountain and quickly set up a defensive formation. Under Old Fei's command, they soon set up an earth elemental array. Gradually, a glittering yellow stone formation appeared and formed a large stone house, protecting everyone inside. An hour later, the The sky became darker, and a sandstorm engulfed everything in sight. The stone array that everyone was in started to tremble, and its lights started to dim. Everyone quickly put in primal crystal stones and true you on. The power of this sandstorm is stronger than we imagined. Those below the half-step void god realm will find it hard to survive in the sandstorm. Old Faye sighed. Everyone's faces were filled with shock. Just the natural disasters in the divine illusion dimension were already so powerful. If it was just one or two elites, they wouldn't be able to move. Zhao Feng sat cross-legged in the center of the Earth stone array, his eyes closed as he silently cultivated. The divine illusion dimension would only open for a few months every time, and the longest time would be half a year. Although this dimension was abandoned by a god, the heaven-earth yuan qi here was much stronger than the continent zone. Most importantly, there were many resources that were rare in the outside world. However, the 10,000 sacred clans' luck wasn't good. The area they connected to was the desert. This sandstorm lasted for an entire day and night. At a certain moment, the sandstorm started to die down. Everyone was on a high mountain, but they were still engulfed by the sand. Bam! Bam! Some of the older generation experts took the lead to disperse the sand and dust outside the earthen formation, creating a passageway. After seeing the light of day again, everyone gazed at their surroundings, all of them absent-mindedly and in disbelief. They felt as if the blue sea had turned into mulberry fields. Chapter 792. On the highlands on a mountain, everyone looked around and was dazed. Even Zhao Feng was no exception. After a disastrous sandstorm, the highlands that the members of the 10,000 sacred clan were on were like a lone mountain that stood in the bottomless abyss. The sudden visual sense of desolation and loneliness was horrifying. The yellow sand of the Gobi Desert was swept away by the huge sandstorm, revealing a huge basin that looked like an abyss. The wind blew over, and the disciples of the 10,000 sacred clan hiccuped. Look, that's... The gazes of some of the clan members locked onto the bottomless abyss. They could faintly see the outline of some buildings. Zhao Feng's god's spiritual eye's penetration was even stronger. He could already see the top of some buildings under the sandstorm. Furthermore, under the sand and dust, it was no longer a sandy desert, but a layer of dark brown soil. Could it be? Zhao Feng had a guess, and his god's spiritual eye could see even deeper. At the same time, the members of the 10,000 sacred clan all released their spiritual senses and inspected the bottomless abyss below. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Kong Failing and Old Faye both had the cultivation of a half-step king, and they immediately flew out. Soon, the members of the group all came down and started to explore. There's an entrance here, someone exclaimed and attracted everyone's attention. They saw a few disciples standing in front of a palace building. The building went straight underground, and they could vaguely see a long and wide flight of stairs. The passageway was 20 yards tall, and it gave off an ancient aura. Underground passageway? In the past, when the divine illusion dimension opened, there were underground cities and even marine worlds. Old Faye's eyes twinkled. However, everyone's spiritual sense was greatly restricted in the divine illusion dimension. The soil in this place, including the buildings, had a powerful isolation effect on the senses. Only Zhao Feng's god spiritual eye could see what was below. It should be an underground city, Zhao Feng said. Everyone immediately agreed with this idea. This section of the palace wall directly extended underground. The soil here had a certain amount of moisture, and some small insects could be seen. This place won't be covered by sand for a while. Everyone started discussing. In the end, most people agreed to explore the underground city. Following the long and wide steps, everyone went underground. In the underground passage, there were some illuminating night pearls that emitted a faint glow. On the way, in the depths of the underground city, roars and tearing sounds could be heard from time to time. The atmosphere was tense. After a long walk, they finally reached the end of the stairs. They found themselves in a vast underground city. Beneath their feet was a dark green stone floor, and they were surrounded by man-made hard stone walls. The materials in the underground city were extremely tough, adding on the fact that the divine illusion dimension restricted one's strength. A full-powered attack from a true lord rank could only leave a small mark on the ground. Perhaps due to the lack of maintenance, many areas of the underground city were dark. However, it was not difficult to see that this underground city was well-equipped with all kinds of facilities. Plazas, fountains, pavilions, shops, houses, and mansions were all available. It was definitely not inferior to the cities on the surface. Elder Faye, I sense a surge of pure origin energy fluctuation coming from the depths of the underground city. Kong Failing, who was dressed in a gorgeous robe, closed her beautiful eyes slightly. Among everyone present, she was the strongest in terms of cultivation and bloodline. With her reminder, everyone raised their senses and started to sense. That's right. Old Fae, the other two half-step Void God realms, and several peak Great Origin Core realms all felt the same. Zhao Feng's left eye focused in a certain direction and revealed a weird expression. Disturbance of Yuan Qi? That's not all. Zhao Feng's soul was the strongest in the group, and with the addition of his god's spiritual eye, he could sense even more clearly. Meow meow. The little thieving cat appeared on his shoulder and threw a few bronze coins into the air. Soon, with Old Fae and a few older generation experts leading the way, Kong Failing followed closely behind and headed towards the location of the Yuan Qi fluctuation. However, the journey wasn't peaceful. Before he had even walked 1,000 feet, a pair of dark green eyes appeared in the dark alley ahead, accompanied by howls that sounded like wolves but weren't wolves. With a flash of lightning, more than a dozen wolf-headed humanoid beings leapt over from the corner. Watch out! It's a wolfman! Old Faye exclaimed. The battle was about to start. The wolfmen's senses weren't affected by the darkness, and their movements were extremely fast. Before the disciples could react, the wolfmen had already charged into the group. Luckily, the elites of the older generation weren't weak, and Old Faye and company quickly killed 2 or 3 wolfmen. Old Faye and the others seemed to have a certain understanding of a foreign race like the werewolves. However, some disciples didn't have as much experience. Ark, one of the disciples at the half-step origin core realm, howled in pain as his shoulder was ripped open by the wolfman's claws. The wolfmen were extremely fast, and their claws were sharp. In a dark environment, they would be able to display more of their strength. The wolfmen left behind a few corpses after a round of attacks before quickly disappearing into the complicated underground city. The wolfmen are extremely cunning and specialize in teamwork and ambushes. That was probably just a probing attack. Old Faye warned. The battle just now was just a round of testing by the werewolves. The group from the 10,000 Sacred Clan continued to advance in an orderly fashion. In the team, there were some who specialized in defense, and there were also a few doctors who specialized in healing. Due to the uniqueness of their cultivation techniques, there were also some who specialized in assassination and scouting. Such a group could greatly increase their chances of survival in unknown environments. Half the time it took to make tea later, the wolf howls came again. In the dark underground city nearby, hundreds of pairs of green eyes appeared, making people shudder. Be careful and prepare for battle. There's several hundred wolfmen this time. Old Faye's heart shook. Many of the wolfmen that appeared this time held weapons and even wore armor. In comparison, the wolfmen in front of them were more elite. The several hundred wolfmen surrounded the area. Roar, the leader of the wolfmen, walked out. His body was covered in golden-brown fur, and he held a large spear in his hand. Meow meow. The little thieving cat on his shoulder gestured at Zhao Feng, as if it was translating something. Robbery. They want us to leave behind all our belongings and our women. It was weird, but everyone could understand what the little thieving cat was doing. Everyone was slightly surprised. Although the underground city was chaotic, it had its own rules of survival. Tell them that we're the robbers. Kong Failing snickered coldly. Meow meow. The little thieving cat waved its paw and gestured at the wolfman leader. Roar! The wolfmen started to howl. The wolfman leader was enraged, and he waved his spear and gave the order to attack. Boom! The wolfman leader's spear created a dark green whirlwind that charged toward the group from the 10,000 Sacred Clan and started to explode. This casual slash was comparable to the attack of a half-step king. "Let me!" Kong Failing exclaimed, and rainbow-colored feathers that looked like flower petals appeared on her body. Boom! Kong Failing and the wolfman leader clashed head-on, and the shockwave pushed back the nearby people. Although the wolfman's bloodline wasn't as strong as Kong Failing's, he was extremely strong and had a strong defense. At the same time, several hundred wolfmen charged into the group from the 10,000 Sacred Clan. In terms of numbers, the wolfmen had a big advantage. However, the geniuses within the 10,000 Sacred Clan weren't simple either. Among them was an elder at the Great Origin Core realm who specialized in the Tao of the Soul. He caused the wolfmen to become chaotic, and they started killing each other. Zhao Feng circulated his golden Kuan's sacred lightning body and wasn't afraid of close combat. The wolfmen that got close were either sent flying or crushed. Meow meow. The little thieving cat ran around happily in the wolfmen group. It didn't kill the wolfmen. It just used its claws to make them dizzy. Capture the leader first. Old Fei roared after stabilizing the situation and attacked the wolfman leader from the side. Wah! The wolfman leader spat out a mouthful of blood. Kong Failing had started to suppress the wolfman after figuring out its strengths and weaknesses, but Old Fei's addition forced it to retreat. Roar! Seeing that the situation wasn't good, the wolfman leader howled and retreated with the wolfmen. These non-humans aren't dumb. The wolfmen specialize in ambushing and bullying with numbers. Once the opponent is too strong, they will retreat. Old Fei let out a long breath. After all, there were several hundred wolfmen. If they didn't care about the price, the 10,000 Sacred Clans group would suffer heavy casualties. Old Fei, I searched the soul of one of the wolfmen captains. The Great Origin Core realm elder that specialized in the Tao of the Soul walked over. Soon, he drew out a map of the nearby area. At the same time, a map of the underground city and the nearby areas also appeared in Zhao Feng's mind. So, in the chaos just now, Zhao Feng had calmly completed the soul-searching art. The center of the Yuan Qi disturbance should be the forbidden ground of the underground city, the evil god's altar. According to this wolfman's memories, the evil god's altar seems to have a mysterious power that can increase one's strength. At some point in time, a miracle even appeared there. Old Fei and company discussed in a low tone. The evil god was the god that all the races in the underground city worshipped. To reach the evil god's altar, we have to pass through the territory of the wolfmen, lizardmen, and scorpion men. The strongest is the scorpion men. Old Fei's eyebrows furrowed as he looked at Kong Failing. The evil god's altar definitely had some sort of secret or fortune. However, from the looks of it, they would meet some other powerful non-humans. The lizard men and scorpion men behind them were even stronger. I feel that the evil god's altar has an unusual power. Kong Failing decided to give a try. Her Imperial Tao bloodline was becoming more and more sensitive to the power coming from the evil god's altar. Okay, everyone get ready. The lizard men usually specialize in spitting fire. Those with water-type techniques, meet up here. Old Fei ordered. Speaking of water-type techniques, Zhao Feng had the ice water bloodline and the water of wind lightning. Without needing to say anything, Zhao Feng didn't have any objections to being sent to the outer area of the group. In the past, he was a lone wolf, but today he had seen the power of a group. They had passed through many difficulties and increased their survivability. Now isn't the time to go alone. Zhao Feng calculated in his heart. The group advanced forward, and the territory of the wolfmen didn't face any large-scale attacks. An hour later, poo-pee-oo-pee-oo, the sound of fire being shot spread out, as well as the shouting and fighting of humans. Which faction are they from? They are actually ahead of us. Old Fei was solemn. Chapter 793. The area in front of them was the territory of the lizard men. Before they even got close, a fiery aura swept over. At this moment, a group of 50 to 60 people was fighting with the lizard men. The lizard men were even bigger than the werewolves. They had thick skin and could spit out poisonous fire. Ding! Boom! Half-step origin core realm attacks from the humans weren't able to do any real damage to the lizard men. However, the lizardmen's poisonous fire was extremely troublesome. Even if one didn't die from it, they would lose a layer of skin. There was a purple-robed youth in the human group, and he was a half-step king. There were also 2 half-step kings in the older generation. This group's overall strength and numbers were slightly weaker than the 10,000 sacred clans. So, it's the Purple Sun Palace from the Big Island Zone. Old Faye let out a breath and squinted his eyes. The Purple Sun Palace was a 2-star sect, and it was also near the Tianfeng Great Island Zone. According to the Divine Illusion Dimension's characteristics, the forces that were nearby would also be nearby. Therefore, the appearance of the Purple Sun Palace was completely reasonable. What Old Faye was worried about was meeting a 3-star sect or some other force. Or perhaps a lone void god realm king would be hard to deal with. Fellow Taoists of the 10,000 Sacred Clan, our goal is the same. Come and lend us a hand. The disciples and elites of the Purple Sun Palace started to fight. These lizard men had coarse skin and thick flesh, and the poisonous flames they spat out were a headache. Let's go together and break through the lizardmen's territory. Old Faye didn't hesitate. The relationship between the 10,000 Sacred Clan and the Purple Sun Palace wasn't that good in the Big Island Zone. However, now that they were facing the non-humans and searching for fortune together, they could reduce the number of casualties. The addition of the 10,000 Sacred Clan greatly reduced the pressure on the Purple Sun Palace. Water-type attacks were more effective against the lizard men. Zhao Feng, who had the Water of Wind Lightning, was obviously one of the first to attack. Bam! 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 Zhao Feng waved his hand, and waves of water and lightning slashed toward the nearby lizard men. The power of the peak 5th level of the 5 elemental wind lightning technique wasn't simple. Zhao Feng's attack struck the lizardmen's vitals. Most of the lizard men were instantly killed by Zhao Feng without being able to resist at all. This kid's water lightning power is actually so powerful that it seems to be a great counter to the lizard men. Some of the older generation experts couldn't help but exclaim. Zhao Feng's speed and movement techniques could be said to be stunning. Those clumsy lizard men couldn't even touch the corner of his clothes. Of course. As for the half-step king warriors, Zhao Feng would only be able to hold them back from the side at most, and would not be the main force. Thank you, everyone. The Purple Sun Palace's top disciple, the purple-robed youth, quickly expressed his gratitude. His gaze lingered on Kong Failing, Zhao Feng, and the others for a moment. Next, the team from the 2-star sects teamed up and started attacking the lizardmen's territory. The lizardmen aren't fast, so we don't have to fight them. All we need to do is carve out a bloody path. Old Faye suggested. The 2 teams agreed to this suggestion. The lizard men had thick skin and flesh, and if they fought them one by one, they would die of exhaustion. Not only did the lizard men have a large number, they weren't like the werewolves, who knew when to retreat and would definitely fight to the end. The werewolves were relatively smart, and if they couldn't win, they would retreat. Kill. The 2 teams opened up a path at the front. The 2 wings were guarded by some flame path experts with strong fire resistance. Zhao Feng and the others with nimble movement techniques that could counter the lizard men stayed behind to fight. An hour later, the 2 teams successfully carved out a bloody path in the lizardmen's territory. Everyone let out a long breath. The lizard men were indeed troublesome to deal with. At this moment, the fluctuation of yuan qi from the depths of the underground city became stronger. That energy fluctuation had a strange, bewitching effect on living beings. Evil gods, altar. Zhao Feng's left, I focused on the deepest area of the underground city. With the help of the god's spiritual eye, he had many guesses and analyses about the source of this energy. Zhao Feng's Imperial Dao bloodline seemed to be excited by this energy. On the other hand, his ice and water bloodline didn't react. Everyone prepare yourselves. The strongest Scorpion Man is next, Old Faye exclaimed. The Scorpion Man's offense, defense, and speed were all powerful. Furthermore, their attacks contained the element of poison. Before he got close, he felt a dark and oppressive aura coming from the Scorpion Man. For some reason, Zhao Feng suddenly thought of the mutated scorpion he had subdued in the Purple Saint ruins. An aura similar to that of an ancient scorpion came from the Scorpion Man's territory. Sii, an ugly creature with a scorpion tail and a human body, suddenly jumped out from a dark corner and slashed over with its sharp pincers. This was a Scorpion Man that had been left behind. Because the Scorpion Men were individually strong, they didn't have a strong sense of teamwork like the werewolves. Ding ding ping. 5 to 6 disciples and older elites attacked at the same time and forced the Scorpion Man back. Don't chase. The Scorpion Man flew into a rage and waved its tail, piercing through the heart of a disciple that was chasing after it. Arg. The Origin Core Realm disciple screamed and died on the spot. The experts of the two forces couldn't help but take in a cold breath. Zhao Feng found that the Scorpion's shell seemed to be made of black metal, and it wasn't damaged at all. The Scorpion Man was extremely fast and had many ways of attacking. Its pincers, fangs, and tail were all lethal attacks. It could be said that this race was almost perfect, apart from its ugliness. Those that cultivate the Tao of Fire, meet up ahead, Old Faye ordered. Comparatively speaking, the Scorpion Men weren't as immune to fire elemental attacks. Boom, boom. Several experts that cultivated the Tao of Fire teamed up and unleashed a powerful flame that enveloped the Scorpion Man, causing it to scream. A few breaths later, the Scorpion Man was burned to ashes. The leaders of the 10,000 Sacred Clan and Purple Sun Palace had solemn expressions. This was because this was just one Scorpion Man. As they went deeper, a cold aura came from the Scorpion Man's territory. The auras of these Scorpion Men were stronger than the one from before. The two teams cooperated with each other and fought the Scorpion Men one after another. There were quite a few Scorpion Men in their territory. Luckily, there weren't hundreds of Scorpion Men attacking together. Otherwise, the two teams wouldn't stand a chance at all. At a certain moment, a tall but ugly female Scorpion Man appeared among the Scorpion Men in front of them. The intent of a half-step Void God realm appeared from her body, and her speed and offense reached a terrifying level. The two half-step Void God realms from the Purple Sun Palace couldn't even touch her. Arg! Screams sounded from the crowd. Ding! Bam! Some attacks barely landed on the female Scorpion Man, but sparks flew from her pitch-black metal armor, but it wasn't damaged at all. Apart from her soul, her battle power is comparable to a Void God Realm King. Zhao Feng couldn't help but click his tongue. The female Scorpion Man's offense, speed, and defense were all top tier. Adding on the deadly Scorpion Venom, normal half-step Void God Realms could be instantly killed. Arg! An elder at the Great Origin Core Realm was barely scratched by the Scorpion Man's pincers, and he soon died. Anyone below the Void God Realm would definitely die if they were hit by this venom. At this moment, even Old Faye, who was extremely experienced, felt troubled. Apart from the female Scorpion Man, there were another 20 or so powerful Scorpion Men nearby, and they were all at least at the Great Origin Core Realm or on par with half-step Void God Realms. Just as everyone was in a tough battle, two magnificent powers appeared from the center of the Scorpion Man's territory. One of them was evil and wicked, and it was several times stronger than the female Scorpion Man's. The other was ethereal and unfathomable. Boom! Boom! The two king auras clashed in the depths of the Scorpion Man's territory, and they attracted more Scorpion Men. Could there be other kings here as well? The expressions of the 10,000 Sacred Clan and the Purple Sun Palace were wary. At this moment, the female Scorpion Man seemed to have received some sort of message, and she quickly retreated with the other Scorpion Men. Shwa! The female Scorpion Man left behind a blurry figure in the dark underground city. Who? Both sides felt as if a heavy burden had been lifted off their shoulders. Apart from the fact that the female scorpionman's soul wasn't as strong as a king's, her physical battle power had almost reached the level of a king. However, what everyone didn't know was that, just as the female scorpion woman moved a few hundred meters into a dark corner, she suddenly felt a strong gust of wind coming from her head. Meow meow. A silver-gray kitten seemed to have appeared out of thin air. It waved its paw and smacked the old man's head. The force of the cat's paw wasn't very strong. However, a strong sense of dizziness engulfed the female scorpionman's body. Immediately afterward, a pair of eyes that looked like purple lightning appeared in the female scorpion woman's vision. Gaze of ice soul. A wave of extreme coldness spread from the soul dimension to the female scorpion woman's soul, which was relatively weak. In reality, the female scorpionman's soul wasn't weaker than most half-step void god realms, but it hadn't reached the void god realm yet. God Tribulation Lightning. An immortal and undying aura of God Tribulation Lightning entered the female scorpionman's soul. The female scorpionman's soul started to shake, and she felt as if she was facing an apocalypse. That power had injured her soul, causing her to tremble and feel fear that stemmed from her instincts. Dark Heart Seal. As the female scorpionman's soul fell, a forbidden and wicked soul eye bloodline power appeared in the depths of her soul. Success. A handsome, purple-haired youth murmured in a low tone. Meow meow. Schwa. The little thieving cat and the female scorpion man both disappeared. Schwa. Schwa. The purple-haired youth's wings fluttered, and he disappeared as well. The forces of the 10,000 Sacred Clan and the Purple Sun Palace stopped to check their numbers and heal the injured. Zhao Feng, where did you run off to? Lu Tianfan looked at the purple-haired youth who had appeared from a dark corner. I was fighting with a scorpion man and let it escape. Zhao Feng said expressionlessly. Boom, boom, boom. The battle between the two groups of void god realm kings became even more intense in the depths of the scorpionman's territory. Faintly, everyone saw a dark scorpion figure appear in the sky above the underground city, and it covered the sky. That's the king of the scorpion men. Everyone took in a cold breath. Normal scorpion men were already so strong. It was hard to imagine how strong the king of the scorpion men would be. If they knew that there was another king among the scorpion men, they wouldn't have dared to enter. From the looks of it, the scorpion man king was forced to use his bloodline technique. Old Face sighed. It was hard to imagine how strong the other king was. Rumble. The underground city started to shake. An arrogant youth in black clothes could be seen in the dust. A layer of silver light glittered around him, and wisps of spatial power started to undulate. You're tuning into the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.